Well, it's almost top of the hour.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions or come across anything interesting in the forums that they'd like to bring up and talk about? Nine? All right. Well, why don't we do a little bit of gallery then? And if you got gallery, make sure you put it in the chat so we can call on you. First, let's go to Mr. Dawson. Al, what you got?
Yes. Well, because of you and Doug all week, 6 days ago, 5 days ago, 4 days ago. Well, you inspired this little guy,
Yeah, that was awesome.
you know. And I
that's
like what you
great.
said today. Well, we're getting a lot of mileage out of this, Doug. You know,
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's older than the shirt on my back.
It was funny. And Scott, like I said earlier, I made just a simple one. Let's see if I could do it. I've been doing it until probably right now. Nope. But anyway, I also want to talk about making the sphere. This sphere, I don't know if the traditional way that I learned how to do it is to get wood, turn it
Your
around.
audio is breaking up.
Sorry.
Your audio is breaking up.
Going
Okay.
up and down.
How about now?
You're good now.
Okay. The traditional way of turning a sphere is, getting a block of wood, turning it around, measuring the thickness of it, finding center, putting your lines, that way, and, to do it, to find where the curve is going, come halfway in again. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. This here again, I saw this with Doug, with one of his videos about a month ago. And you put a block of wood. It doesn't even have to be completely square. And you put it on centers. And you spin it and you start hitting it a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, and all of a sudden you'll start to see a ghost of a sphere. And you keep working at that. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'll bet it's perfect. I highly recommend people trying that. It's a very simple project, and anyways, it's very simple. You can make a sphere without a pencil and a tape measure by putting that little block of wood by corners, and it was very nice. I mean, I never saw anything like it before. He said he saw it on YouTube with someone else, and I have the guy's name here somewhere. I don't know where it's at right now. But anyway, I highly recommend, if you want to make a sphere, try it.
Corner to corner, huh?
Corner to corner. And the cube doesn't even have to be perfectly cubed.
Right.
As soon as you start spinning and you start, just grind, not a push cut yet, but just grind it. You're just trying to make it. All of a sudden, you'll see that little ghost, and it's pretty
interesting. Yeah, I've never heard that before.
It's a lot of fun. Now remember last week again. Talk about Doug. I don't see, is Doug on? Doug, are you on? Probably not. He said he might not be able to make it.
Is your mic to the right of you by any chance? Every time you move your hand to the right, it gets quieter, and every time you move to the left, and your head isn't moving left or right.
I'm here on my cell phone.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I didn't mean to pick on you. It's just that I suddenly realized you move your hand to the right, suddenly it gets quieter. And you move to the left, it gets louder again.
It's me. Anyway, last week, again, Doug had the oval bowl. And I showed my oval bowl And, all you guys, gave me tons of, ideas, to hide my scene. I didn't do that, but I had it sitting on my workbench, and my workbench is left of my lathe. And I was turning one of these two things, and I looked over to the two. I had it sitting there, and I looked over and I said, "You know what that looks like? That looks like it could possibly be a sailboat." So,
Look at
It's
that.
a great sailboat.
so I made a sailboat out of it.
Yeah, that looks good, Al. Way to
Love it.
repurpose.
Goofing
See,
around.
now what you
Cool.
need to do is post that on the recovery project post, which will come out on Monday.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
Recovery
right.
segment post. Yeah, that would be a good item to put there, and then explain what you did and why you came up with that design.
well, I came up with that design because everybody was telling me, like, hey, you should do something with it because it wasn't that
Right.
bad.
Yeah, great job. Great job. How about
Playing
that,
around.
everybody?
Does
Good
it
wheel
float?
even works.
I
Does
love
it
it.
float?
Really cool, Al.
Nice job.
That's cool,
Anyway,
Albert.
Good
I hope
job,
everybody-
Al.
I hope everybody's
Good
doing
idea.
good. Hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody has an enjoyable evening.
Yeah,
All
go
right.
sailing.
Thanks, Al.
Looks great.
All right. Let's since mine kind of follows on here. So I've been playing with the Kintama game as well, and I'm pretty good at making spears. I'm definitely going to try what Al was talking about because I'm always looking to improve my spear game and get as round as possible. But what I did do, I've never had a set of little milk jugs. One, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So I
cute.
turned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, that design was by accident. So I turned this first. So I did a Morse paper, fit, as the drive center for the headstock. And then as I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, wow, look at that design there. It looks just, it looks like the old milk jugs that we used to put milk in back on the farm. And so I've got ideas on stuff to do with this design going forward. And then so I had some craft foam, and I was impatient. I did not want to wait for the following day for the shoe goo to dry or EA 9000. So I thought I'd go ahead and try Quick and Thick Tight Bond. By golly, that Quick and Thick Tight Bond, it works great for craft foam as well. And then so for the live center side, I had a nut for it, and so I threw it in the vise. Did it the hard way because I like to save the shavings for my iron acetate, so it's a mesquite iron acetate blow, and then sealed with CA Parfix 3408. Drilled a 1/8 inch hole for the nut, and then switched off. Put a 3/4 inch Forstner bit to drill another 3/8 to allow for the point of the center to go through. So this totally screws all the way back to the end of the live center, and then the same thing, tight, Quick and Thick Tight Bond foam, craft foam. Put it. I've got another. I have another dead center that I've turned. Put that in tailstock with a tennis ball, and that's what I use to keep everything in. So yeah, so I'm set for trying the method of turning your spear and rotating the ball based on the 4 quadrants. And I did make this stick for a kendama.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Nice. Oh.
So I made the 2 cups, but I didn't care for the design. So I went back and I've modified my measurements and redrawn on that to see if I can produce something better than what I initially did. And then so the one project I did complete, I did get my hair stick ensemble completed for my daughter. and so this is the case. So it's mesquite.
Wow.
The case is made out of apple. And then I used red dye to, with black and purple to come up with plum color.
Pretty
Really nice.
Very
Wow.
nice.
Your
Of course, you know,
posting is always like out of this world, man. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
I can almost see the camera in there.
And yeah, so it's piston fit.
Very nice.
Wow.
And so, like I said, you know, my daughter, she wanted 9-inch hair sticks because she's got long hair, and then she's got a little bit of hippie in her, so she's got those silly braids in there as well, where they knot up their hair and whatnot. So she wanted something where she can just put everything up in one bun instead of separating it like she had been doing with the 6-inch sticks. So I took some curly maple, and so turn this. It's 2 mil at the end and 6 mil at the top. And I used for this one and the next one plastic shopping bag, a little bit of RIT dye on it. Dot dot dot. Start with the dark colors first, and just work my way through all the light, you know, all the colors that I have, you know, to the lightest one. And then for the yellow, I've got RIT. I have a mix with denatured alcohol and the RIT dyes as well. So for the yellow, I just spray the liquid over it while it's spinning on the lathe, and then blow, and then Parfix 3408. So here's the other one.
Very
So
nice.
so 2 of them, she asked for a slight indentation in the center of them. I think, yeah, you can see it there.
Mhm.
And so I did that. So the
What's
same
the
technique.
purpose of that indentation?
It's all about the hair wrap catching it. If I had hair, I'd be able to explain it better.
I'm just glad you
You know.
explained that it was for your daughter, because I was going to say, you really don't need it.
Right? You know,
Those are,
you know,
yeah,
they also good
those
for
are really
chop
nice,
suey as
Dane.
well. Thank you. And then so here's another one. This is double dyed technique, coral red and yellow.
That's cool.
And
They're
then
all
this one
really
here is
nice.
just greens and yellows and whatnot. So again, you know, after, you know, when I use RIT dye for anything, after I put the RIT on, let it dry, which doesn't take long. If you need to speed it up, use your air hose, give it some air.
Do you mix anything with?
Do what?
Do you mix anything with the dye? Do you dilute it at all with water or anything?
No, I do not use water with RIT dye. I only use denatured alcohol, or I use it full strength.
But okay, so then you do dilute it. You make a mix.
Some of the mixes I do, yes. But for the first 2 with the bag technique, with the plastic bag technique, that's full strength straight from the bottle.
Right.
These 2 are done with the liquids. And it's just playing around. And if it doesn't look right to you, guess what? All you got to do is sand it off. You know, it only goes in 0.5 millimeter. You know, but just to reiterate, you know, anytime I dye something, I dye it, let it dry. Of course, I've got low humidity, so everything dyes rather quickly for me. Then I saturate it with bold linseed oil, wipe off the excess, and then Parfix 3408 seal it into the grain. And then from there, if I want to put tung oil on it, polymerizing tung oil, I'll do that as well. You know, to build the finishes. So, but that's me.
Very
Those are
nice.
beautiful.
Very
Looks
nice.
like they'd be real
That's
nice
pretty
for
good.
self-defense, Dane.
Very nice.
That is the other key element to them is, and of course I kind of harp. I've always taught my daughter is, just because of my background, what I grew up in as a young adult, some of the stuff that I did, which was in the self defense. So she's very adamant about having something to be on her quick and ready to be able to protect herself because she is a slight little girl. So, but yep, that's me.
Well, make sure she has a gun too.
She also has a gun. She got a speeding ticket a couple weeks ago. She was late for work. She was doing 95 and 65.
Ooh,
Stady pulls her over, about 40 miles from here. She was on her way to Fort Huachuca for a client down there. And the Stady asked her, well, as he comes around, the side of the car, of course, out here, well, anybody, when you get pulled over, you should always keep your hands on the steering wheel or up to where, they see you, you don't be leaning over, to grab your registration because the cops think, you're reaching over to grab a gun. Yeah. So he comes around the other side of the car and she goes, "Hi, officer. I just want to let you know that I do have a gun in my car and it's right behind my seat here." And he looks at her and he goes, "Well, that's really great that you are carrying. You were taught right. Anyhow, why were you speeding so fast?" Tells the reason. She's like, and the cop says, "Well, what do you think was going to happen? Fort Huachuca was going to pick up legs and walk away." Long story short, she used her looks and a little childish charm, and she got off from it. So, but yeah,
wow. Lucky.
yeah. Oh, I know, right? It could have been a reckless
Yeah.
assault if it was the
Yeah.
wrong policeman having a
I'd be
bad
sitting
day.
in jail.
Oh, I know. I would be too.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. All right, let's go to Mr. Kingsley. What you got, Grandpa?
Well, I feel like a slacker. All I've managed to
no.
do is make this little box.
Oh, that's elegant.
Nice. It looks very nice.
Pretty.
And
That's nice, Dave.
thanks.
Beats what I
That
got
looks
done.
like it belongs in the newsletter.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, I have several pictures I've got to send in, but I just think time is time is something I don't have a lot of. I spend a lot of time with the little guy. So this morning I got out in the shop and managed this.
Wow, very, very nice.
Looks great. Dave,
Yeah,
What's
thanks.
the wood? What's
Dave?
the wood?
It's oak.
Is it Osage orange?
No, it's oak.
Oak?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. There was a street in a local in Jamestown that had a lot of oaks lining the street. And they got pretty old and started falling on houses. They took them all down. And I was able to snag some of it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I've got a
Nice.
few more blanks left, but it's starting to get hard to come by.
All right, that'll work.
That's it for
All
me.
right, bring up
Looks
our
good.
next contestant here. Let's see, Ruby, come on down.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, I got you.
I was playing around with making some ash pepper mills, and I was playing around with the silver embellishing cream that you put into the grain along with that. And on the silver on the black came out pretty well. So then I decided I'd try it out with another one using the blue. Only somehow or another, not only did the blue fill the grain, it left a purple shimmer all over this, so it's quite reflective, and it looks good.
It looks beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It was an interesting effect, to go from the black like this to something that's got a shimmer over the whole thing.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
So
gorgeous.
I'm going to make a-
It's really
pardon?
nice.
I'm
And what
going to
was
make
that
a
you used,
couple
George?
salt shakers to match it. Then I thought I'd show you this box.
Oh, that's neat.
You take this out in order to get this part to come out.
I love trick boxes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, that's beautiful.
wait.
Fantastic. Great job.
Well,
Oh, wow.
this gives you another idea for something to try, Al.
Hey, Ruby, that looks like it needs to go in the newsletter.
Yes, yes.
Ruby,
what have you got in the middle to line it up, Ruby?
Oh, okay. When I made the box in the center, I drilled a little hole right here
Okay,
so that when you put it back in, it's just lined up perfectly. Then when this drops in, it goes right into that little hole, and it keeps the box from coming out.
What is the handle?
Pardon?
The handle. What was the handle? I mean, the whole
That
thing's
was
really
just
big.
an excess piece of exotic wood that I had lying around. And it was just a little piece, not good for a lot, so I figured, okay, it'd make a good top.
It made a great top.
Looks like a propeller, huh?
Yeah, you could make a really good propeller out of it.
I thought sure you were gonna spin it.
Yeah.
No, okay, now your box that you inserted. Now, okay, so you drilled I guess the whatever dowels rod from your handle down. Now, how far in? I'm trying to say how far in did the box go? I guess just no. I'm thinking that,
Maybe an
I'm
eighth
asking
of
the
an
whole
inch
question.
at the most.
Pardon?
Maybe an eighth of an inch at the most. If I did it again, I would probably make the box bigger. Okay, I'd probably make the box a little bit bigger and then have it come into the box a little further. One of the best ways to make sure you got it into the box is to make the box, put it in place, and then drill your hole from the top and measuring so that you just go into the very top of it.
Okay, good.
How do you ensure that the box is oriented in the right direction?
One side's a little bigger than the other.
But I'm
Ruby?
talking about rotationally.
Oh,
So
well,
if
just
it's a little to the
eyeball it.
left or the
Like
right.
when you,
Okay.
okay, wow.
So you
know,
can
it's a-
spin that box in there. So when you put it in and put the top in, you
Yeah.
just got to eyeball
Okay,
it. Okay,
see
I
when
got
I
you.
turn it, see where you can see the hole?
Mhm.
I make sure that hole's on the top, and then I push it in. And because I turned the outside edges of the box, so the curvature matches the outside of this part. You can kind of see it there.
Right.
It'll line up quite well.
I would love to come to one of your classes.
Makes sense. Thank you, Ruby.
All right, I just thought it might give some people
Sure.
an idea of something different to try.
It is.
Absolutely.
Really
It is.
nice idea.
It's
Okay.
cute. Now, okay, the box that you put in there, Ruby. So I guess, how can I say this? Now, okay, how's the fit? So you have to go and make sure that you pass where the lid was. So I mean,
The fit's pretty good. Like the box won't drop out.
No, not with the pin in there. You take the pin out. I'm talking about the box itself that you inserted. So that also has to be.
Yeah, it won't drop out.
Okay, but I mean, putting the lid on your box that you have inserted there. So
Yeah, if you get it lined up right, you can push on this and if you don't get it right in the right place, you can get the box open. But if once you get it in the right orientation, you can't open it.
Cool.
Okay? And
very okay, very.
And in answer to Sue's question, this is not a hookah behind me. I think this is what she's referring to. That's my Maasai warrior.
Okay. It looked like a hookah from my perspective.
Hopefully it doesn't now.
No,
Wow.
no, it don't look like a hookah.
Yeah, the interesting part on this was turning the shield on the lathe so that you ended up with the sphere here and the lines up and down there.
Wow.
Beautiful.
When I turned the sphere, and then to put the little markings along it, literally what I did was I turned it sideways and held this part against the corner of my grinding wheel and just hit it and spun it and moved it along as the wheel was turning.
Cool.
Wow. Wow.
That's really cool, Ruby.
Yeah, that is.
Nice
That's
job,
amazing.
Emily.
Really nice.
Very,
I
very,
Absolutely.
very.
Get tired of it, you can send it to me, Ruby.
The head is just,
It's
the head
amazing.
really gets you too. That's
Dane,
awesome.
I've got to,
It's the head is I'll try and come closer. The head is textured.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful.
What'd you use for the hair?
Just string.
Oh, just black string?
Yep.
Wow.
That is
So like this cap up here, this white part is separate from this part. So inside there it's hollowed and the string goes inside and there's a knot there to hold it from coming out.
Cool.
I'm shocked you didn't make that a box.
And the detail all along it is just amazing.
That way you could put the hookah tobacco in it.
That's true.
I really love that.
Dane,
Great
Dane,
job,
I've,
It
Ruby.
is interesting. That's wonderful.
Dane, I've got to jump in because I've got a couple of questions if you can hear me.
Yeah,
Ruby,
absolutely, Martin.
Firstly, I'm going to have to say sometimes there's words that you guys use that we don't understand, and the same as you don't understand sometimes what we say.
You're right.
I've just Googled hookah, and I'm sure that is not what you're holding.
No, no,
You're-
without a doubt.
You're absolutely right, Martin. This
Right.
is not anything to do with hookah at all.
Right. Going back to that box that you've made, absolutely love that. And there was a question while you were holding it up about the box moving from left to right and being able to orientate it so the stick hits the hole correctly. If I'm right in thinking, the way you've turned that, the box in the center that runs through is actually concave now. It's part of the outside structure.
Yes,
So
it
really,
is.
as long as you look and the hole is at the
Good,
top, if you push it in, it's never going to be out of orientation.
Right.
It would either be upside
Right.
down or the right way out. Is
Right.
that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I thought so. I just needed to clarify that. My second question on the pepper grinders that you've done earlier on. It's interesting that you got exactly the right result that you wanted on the first one, but haven't achieved it on the second one.
I
it
think
would
what
be
happened
interesting-
on the second one was that the embellishing cream, they were both the Hampshire Sheen ones. The blue was starting to dry out.
Right.
So I've since added some mineral spirits to loosen it up a bit. But the end result was everybody that sees this one really thinks it looks good the way it is.
Well, that was going to be
Me
my next
too.
comment. Sometimes some of the nicest things are by accident.
Absolutely.
And it
Bob
is-
Ross
it is-
used to call them a happy accident.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's been part of groups like this where you experience everybody else's accidents and achieve great results.
True.
Say that
I
again,
really
Martin.
like that. It's a nice job.
Thank
But
you.
it would be interesting to know, why the second one didn't react the same as the first one.
I think
and you
it's
think it was
because
because
this
it was
cream
drier.
was soft,
Yeah.
whereas this cream had really dried out quite badly.
Okay.
But the
Interesting.
interesting thing is I want to make a couple of salt shakers to match them. And I'm hoping I
Yeah.
can get the same result on the salt shakers.
Well, can you come back and tell us next week,
Yeah.
Ruby, that you've managed it or you haven't?
Okay, it might
you-
not be next week, but we'll see. We'll see.
You've got a whole week.
Yeah, but during that week, I do a lot of commercial turning for a local wood mill, and I really can't show you the jobs that I brought home this morning because I turned the 4 spindles and then took them back in so he could call the customer and tell them they were done.
Super job. Well done, Ruby. Thanks,
Good
Dane.
job.
Thank you,
Yeah, you
Mark.
bet.
If I might add a little bit to this discussion, I have played around with diluting the embellishing waxes and gilt creams with denatured alcohol and mineral spirits, and it tends to make them more. They go into places a lot easier. So I have a piece or two that where I diluted some gold gilt cream with denatured alcohol and rubbed it into oak and ash grain that's been black stained. And I think that maybe the mineral oil has a part in that because it serves as a vehicle to transport the colored substance more finely, if you will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that might be my suggestion, is to try some of that with the mineral spirits or whatever you were using to dilute the cream, the wax of the cream with.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I've had good results with that and repeatable results with that. So
Dilute.
that's what I put in to dilute it a little bit.
yeah, it becomes more liquid. It flows into the grain more readily when you do
Right.
that. And I don't know if dilution is the right way to say it. You're sort of dissolving the cream a little bit into the denatured alcohol, making it flow easier.
Refreshing.
Yeah, it does more
Vitalizing.
than just refresh it, though, Dana. It makes it more or less viscous, or whatever the correct word is.
More
It
malleable.
flows better. Yeah.
Makes it more
I think
malleable.
malleable is the right word, Dane.
Yeah, right on. Yeah,
I'm learning tons of ways
that's
tonight.
that overeducated head I got.
Normally it's me having to translate your English to ours.
I'm gonna have to put the translip on.
That's because we speak American.
Dilute.
Right.
Dilute. What? I can't
Dilute.
even-
What
dilute.
should I say, Martin? Dilute?
Definitely dilute. Definitely dilute.
Dilute.
I would agree with you, Martin.
That's dilute.
It's all right,
put
guys.
it this way: it softens it when it's dried out.
It
I
does.
like that.
It's fine, guys. I'll keep them. Honestly, I'll keep them. It'll be all right.
Better yet, we just thin it.
Roll Tide.
And in answer to Billy's comment, if you talk to Martin, he'll just tell you that to take some denatured alcohol or mineral spirits and put a
Methyl-
couple
meth-
drops
meth-
in
methyl-
with the wax. And
Methylated
if it
spirits.
dries out. So
Say that
yeah,
5
save
times.
you
after you had
asking
it
Martin,
back.
because that's exactly what he'll tell you.
Right.
I'll let you jump in for a second if I can, Dane.
Say
Hear
again?
me? I'd like to jump in for
Who
a
is
second
this?
if I can. Jay.
Yeah, who
Penfield.
is this?
Jay Penfield.
Oh, Jay.
Yeah. So piggybacking on what Ruby was just talking about with Martin, last night at our board meeting, one of the members brought up that it'd be awesome if the experienced guys could start bringing some of their screw ups that they've had over the years to show to the members that are new. So they'll see that everybody starts out the same way and to share how they fix things. So as Ruby was saying about some things are a happy, ending situation. When we have a problem where something goes wrong, it's a learning experience. It's a way to figure out a way to do something to make it better. So what we're going to be doing at the next couple of meetings, we're going to start talking to the members about bringing their old pieces out that didn't work out, so they can discuss why they didn't work out and share that with the newbies.
No, that's a
Great
good
idea, Jay.
It was not my idea.
I wonder if this
Michelle-
would be down for it.
I got that funnel that I dot painted, Jay. Y'all want me to bring that to the meeting on Sunday?
What we're planning on doing is having them bring their stuff to the meeting in June when we do the picnic, and we're going to have a big
Okay.
burning afterwards. Those who want to burn them. So,
No, I'm not burning it.
No, don't burn them.
so only for those that want to. Chuck was saying he wants to burn his, but but I think it's a great idea for us to bring the stuff that didn't work out, discuss why they didn't work out, and let people learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
I was talking to Richard Raffin a while back. I said to Richard, I've seen a couple of your videos where stuff blows off the lathe. Why don't you edit that out? He said, because I'm a human being like everybody else. I want people to see it can happen to any of us, no matter how experienced you are. I don't want to see people be deterred by having something blow off the lathe and then decide to quit. It happens to all of us. It was a good answer from Richard.
That it is.
So, yep.
You're a person's ego is not your amigo.
That's correct.
Right.
Very good.
And Ruby, it's great to see you. I'm looking forward to being at your place again pretty soon. And that piece you just showed us was gorgeous. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Jay.
All right. Let's move along to Miss Brenda.
Can we go to Ruby one more time?
Yeah.
I'd like to say, hey, Ruby, can you hold that figurine back a little bit and let me take a screenshot of it?
Sure. Tell me.
Yeah,
what
there
it
you
is.
go, like that. Hold that just a second.
Well, hopefully she'll send a picture of it to the editor.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Ruby.
Editor at worldwidewoodturners.org. Everybody should be sending in photos of their work, for the newsletter. That way we've got a more inclusive and more encompassing panorama of the work that we do instead of the 5 or 6 same people.
Yeah, thanks, Ruby.
What Dane said.
Yeah. Sorry. Soapbox. I'll get back on in here later on. So, all right. Thanks, Ruby. Once again.
You're welcome. Thank you. Sorry to take up so much time.
Oh
Yeah.
God. There is no time limit on this meeting.
We appreciate you.
Well worth it. Well worth
We
it.
appreciate you for it.
That's for sure.
All right. Brenda, are you still here? I guess she's having internet connections.
Yeah, there's a lot of storms moving around different parts of the eastern states right now.
All right, let's move on while she's waiting to connect. Let's go see what Sandy's got.
Oh, hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi. I have a couple of handles, and this is actually a joint project that I'm working on. I work part-time, as many of you know, for D-Way Tools, and we're going to Oregon for the symposium, and Jimmy just started, D-Way Tools, just started making the inserts for handles. And so he wanted me to decorate some handles so we could take them to Oregon to draw attention to the new inserts. So I got 2 finished. I got the
Oh,
gecko.
very cool. I like it.
I love the gecko.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So I got that one. And then I did some Cocopellis. Jimmy kind of grew up
Nice.
in Arizona. And
Oh,
so
did he?
yeah, he actually in the, I believe it was in the Tucson area. But anyway,
Okay.
so he likes anything that looks sort of Southwest. So anyway, he liked some Cocopellis. So I did these and I sent him a picture of them and he said, they look very happy. I said, well, I guess that's a good thing. I'm hoping it's a good thing anyway. So I did a lot of different colors and I said, well, I thought you wanted them to stand out so people would see this so they could get to this. So anyway, if you guys are going to be in Oregon for the symposium, stop by because they'll be in the booth.
Okay.
Sandy, what are you using to protect those designs on the handles?
This one doesn't quite have a finish on it yet, but as I'm painting to keep, so I dry with a hairdryer because, we don't have a lot of time and it's a lot of paints. But I spray some of that fixative, the workable fixative that we normally would use on a painting. Like if we were doing a painting on paper and what you can use it on wood as well. So as I'm painting, so I don't smear as I'm moving around and get my fingers and knuckles and all that stuff in it, I spray a little bit of that. I take it outside and I have a paper towel holder I got at the Goodwill that has the post coming up so I can put it down on the post and spray it because as soon as the sun comes out. What I'll do with this next is probably put some of that salad bowl finish or something like that on it and let it dry. But for now, it's just sealed with the fixative, workable
Okay, thanks.
fixative in a rattle can. So anyway, that's what I've been working on.
It's
Very
gorgeous.
cool, Sandy. Looks
Okay,
great.
thanks. That's all I got.
All right. Let's go see Brenda here before she gets kicked off again.
Yeah,
Hi,
I'm
Brenda.
getting very aggravated with this internet tonight. Hello, everyone.
It's all good. You're here now. It's all right.
I've got. And get a hold of them so I can hold them up. Watch this. Look at this.
Oh,
The bottom one came from my friend's chair, and they needed 2 replacements.
wow.
Very
Well
good.
done.
Her
Yeah.
husband says he's going to drill the holes, so he didn't want me to drill the holes. So I did those,
That's a good job. You did nice.
and I made 2 salt and pepper shakers. This one is box elder,
Very nice.
and this one is tulip poplar.
Nice.
Nice.
Very
And they
nice.
just got the plugs in the bottom. That's what I've done this week and last
That's
week.
Very good. That's a lot.
No, the first 2
Very
things, Brenda, first 2 things. How long are they? What?
How long or what?
From end to end.
The salt and pepper shakers?
The first thing that you showed us. The spindles.
The chair rails.
Yeah, the chair.
Spindles?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
Same length as this one.
I showed, like I
I
said,
don't know.
I showed a few weeks ago of something that I did, for my grandson, and it's it's a lot more difficult than I thought it was to make a long piece of a straight piece of wood to make it look like I made 2.
This one here. This one's smaller at this end than it is at this end. But figured it's going to be under the chair, so I'm going to. They do fit inside the holes. So
I thought it was easier, and it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
No.
You did a nice job. You did a nice job.
I didn't realize he needed 2 of them. I had one of them done and told him, I said, hey, I finished that piece for you. He's like, I needed 2 of them. All right, so I went back out today and made another one. So he can put his chair back together.
Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you to make a second one anyhow?
Yeah, you told me to make a second one. Next day I talked to him. He said, "Well, I needed 2 of them." Well, I guess I'm gonna make another one anyway, ain't I?
Right.
So
Well done, Brenda.
You did good. You can make
Yeah.
a whole chair.
And you know what? The piece that he gave me, look at the end of it. I don't know if you can tell. Can you see that?
No.
It's got
What are we looking at?
it's got the piece like it came off. See that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Nice
got
blade.
the hide glue on it.
So evidently the chair was handmade anyway.
Yeah.
So I thought
Oh,
that's
so
pretty
it's
cool.
still got the 4-point centers tapped into it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, that one does. And then that
Yep.
one's got a single hole in it.
Yeah. Made
Yeah.
on a copy lathe. Zoom. Right on.
Yep.
Good job, Brenda.
That's what I got.
All right. Let's get
That's
Mr.
it.
Smith. Hey, Randy. Look at that backdrop. I like it.
Hello. I may get kicked off the site for this. I apologize in advance. I've been making pens
Can't be
this
no
week.
worse than what we've seen last week.
There is no wood in these. This is one of the pens I made this week. A friend of mine who's a pilot told me he had found a bunch of old aviation maps. And so he said, I'm just going to throw them out. And I said, look, give me one sheet. And so what I did was I glued them onto a brass tube and then I embedded them under acrylic.
Nice.
And this is what it came out as. So
It looks great. Very nice.
and
Yeah.
That is cool.
so this is the next one. Come on, next page. Oh, there
Right.
it is.
Oh,
This is
wow.
the same technique. Japanese origami is made on a paper called washi paper. It's normally a long fiber paper used for origami work, and it has usually a pattern on it. This type of paper is called Chiobani. It's a washi paper with foil over it, and then they emboss a pattern over the gold or silver foil. And so that's this one I did this week.
Randy, they're both beautiful.
Yeah, really pretty.
They're very nice. And my last one is this one. This one I did not make the blank. I just turned it and assembled it.
Is that a
It
circuit board?
is. Pardon?
Is this a circuit board?
Yes. Yes, this is a circuit board. It is ground. The bottom of the circuit board is ground down until it's very thin, and then it can be bent in a circle around the blank and glued. And the guy that does these is very talented. And but I do not. I did not make the blank in this case.
Very
Well
nice.
done.
That's it for tonight.
Wow.
Very nice.
They're really stunning.
Unfortunately, there's no wood in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. You still wound up using your lathe for it, so we won't crucify you for that.
Oh,
Well done,
yeah.
Randy. Nice job. All right, let's go to. God, let's go to this character. I wonder what he's got. Mr. Duxbury.
Ooh, okay. Well, I just had cataract surgery this morning, so
Oh
I'm
my
not
goodness.
seeing real good. But
Uh-oh.
I've been cleaning out the shop and turning everything that's been sitting in the corner for a while. So
Oh, your slacker stack.
these are kind of natural edge pieces.
Very nice.
This is a bigger one. This has 3 natural edges, so that's what the blank had. That's what I went with.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Nice.
You did that this morning?
No, I've been doing this week. This is this week. There's
What kind of
a,
wood is it, Jim?
these are walnut, black walnut.
Walnuts? Okay.
And you can tell it's from around here because I don't know if you can see that well. I can't see anything very well, but anyway, black walnut from North Carolina is grown in red dirt. So you can see a red sheen, a light red sheen in there.
Oh, wow. I
Okay.
didn't know.
And you'll know right away. Also, it grows faster, so you'll see much bigger grain. You don't get that in Pennsylvania and Ohio.
The wood is pretty, but I'll tell you what, that shape is just gorgeous.
Well, the shape went with the whatever broke out. I had a big chip in the corner here, so I put a groove in there. And anyway, lots of fun. This other one was this was a glue up a plate. This has 2 pieces of walnut, a piece of maple in the center, and a piece of maple on both edges. So
Yeah.
enough to make a plate out of it.
That came out really nice, Jim.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
It uses up a lot of the little pieces. When it goes out of here, it's in sawdust, okay?
There's only one thing wrong with that plate, Jim.
What?
There aren't any cookies on it.
No, no. You won't find any cookies around here.
Turn
Well,
some.
again,
And then
people are, I'm sorry. Sorry.
And then I did a kaleidoscope. This is a maple and cherry kaleidoscope. The cradle has a stripe goes horizontally or diagonally through it.
Oh, neat.
Very nice.
Can't make it show. There it goes. And this is a plan that I do. I teach this. It has a rotating barrel. You probably can see.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's cool.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Badass, Jim.
Anyway,
Really
Good
cool.
camera.
Looks
And
like
then we
something
have-
you find up at Nellie Bly.
yeah, yeah. I've got stuff up
Right.
there. I did have.
Oh,
I don't know.
I know.
And we were talking about making balls. I'll show what I do. I do these. Does that show? I never know if this is going to work.
Yeah, it showed.
Yep.
These are 3-inch balls. The top one is Jatoba trimmed in maple. The bottom one is maple trimmed with Jatoba. The top one has a Jatoba and maple plug in it. The bottom ones have purple heart, yellow heart, and Jatoba plugs. The race is turned out of mahogany and it's tangent at just the right point to leave a spacing between the balls so that they rotate freely without interfering with each other.
Wow.
That's great, Jim.
That's
That
very,
never gets old.
wow.
Have a ball.
That's fantastic.
It
Well,
is.
Jim,
been-
what, do you have a secret on turning spears you want to share?
I use math. I did the math on this. So when I've got a cylinder that's a certain length and the same certain diameter and the same length, I go 0.5855 times the diameter. That's the distance you come in from both ends and come down to both sides of the radius on the ends. And if you go straight across there, that's a tangent line to the center of that ball. After I did the math and spent an hour doing it, I found it on YouTube. There's a couple of guys do the same thing. Could have saved me a lot of time. But anyway, I've made a bunch of these and they're fun to do. I don't know. I might have more. I don't know what happens when you do this viewing again, but These are 3-inch
Oh.
balls. The top one is Jatoba trimmed in maple. The bottom one is maple trimmed with Jatoba. The top one has a Jatoba and maple plug in it. The bottom ones have purple heart, yellow heart, and Jatoba plugs.
These are all the same size.
Mahogany, and it's tangent at just the right point to leave a spacing between the balls so that they rotate freely without interfering with each other.
I'll stop. If it's screwed up, they'll back up. When it stops, if these are made wrong, if any one of them is wrong, it'll back up. Or if the weather changes, it'll do it. See, it backed up a little bit. Anyway,
Those are great.
I got a motorized set too, but I'll show that some other time.
Motorized set, unbelievable.
Yeah. They said it couldn't be done, so I did it. And,
Show off.
Anyway.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
Hey, Jim, there's an old saying that says those who say it can't be done should not interrupt those who are doing it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yep.
I said before, I wish it had told me it couldn't be done. I wouldn't have done it.
Right.
Well, we're glad
All
nobody told you.
Anyway.
Good stuff. All right, let's do one more gallery and then we'll do safety moment and then we'll get on to our demonstration for the evening. But I need Mr. Howard King, the original Roll Tide, to start his video. Howard. Howard, you there?
He probably got kicked off too.
Apparently not.
He's got his camera turned off. All right, well, we'll just come back to it. Let's go to Mr. Hampton.
Hello. Can you guys see
look,
me?
he's actually there.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Let me switch cameras here real quick. And of course, I have to follow Mr. Duxbury, of all things.
You
There we go. I made some bud vases this week for Mother's Day. And this one is made out of cottonwood out of the Tehachapi Mountains of the Mojave Desert here in California. And these two are aspen, where I left some of the natural edge or natural bark on them. And the flowers are made out of Legos.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Very nice. And my grandson,
Legos.
Yeah, my 15-year-old grandson made the Lego flowers. And he gave one to my wife and 2 of them to his mom. So
look good.
Those are
Mother's
sweet,
Day.
Scott. Those are sweet.
Very
And
nice.
I polished them up with Yorkshire grit waxes just to give them a nice little sheen. So, yeah, I like them. Very nice.
Good job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I haven't shown anything for a while, so I thought I'd show these. So,
Well,
Great
we're
job,
glad
Scott.
you did.
Look nice. I like the one furthest away.
oh yeah, I kind of copied that from an old decanter, an old whiskey Jim Beam decanter. They used to sell those many, many years ago that looked like that.
Colorado gold trimmed in maple on a mesquite base.
Nice job on this.
All right, thank you.
All right. You
Great
rest up
job.
your screen share. There we go.
You're muted.
All right.
Scott, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Much appreciated.
No problem. Glad that I could
All
show
right.
them.
So I need to go to our editor so he can talk about the newsletter briefly.
Hi.
Sorry,
You caught me.
Joaquin, hitting you cold blind, but got to hype that
did.
newsletter and photos.
Yeah, you caught me. I'm finishing up some pens. I've got quite the newsletter put together for next week. Still doing a lot of editing. It has a step-by-step tutorial in it that is quite lengthy, but well worth it. And we're going back and forth about photos. What I need to ask you guys is this. When you send photos, first of all, if I don't acknowledge, give me a day. If you send a photo this morning, I checked my email at 5 a.m. before I went to work. So if I got it last night, you should have received an email response from me saying thank you, received, something like that. So if you're sending photos tonight, I'm not going to see them until tomorrow morning. That's just right now, my schedule is topsy-turvy. So I apologize, but I try to respond and let you know I got them. If you don't get an email back from that editor email saying thank you, message me on the Facebook page, on the group page, and let me know you sent something and it didn't connect. Primarily with our Canadian members, for some reason, Microsoft Outlook screens out emails from Canada with photos attached. And I have to hear from you, get your email address, email you, and then when you respond, I get your photos. I don't know what the disconnect is. I don't know if it's Outlook. I don't know if it's our server, but for some reason, primarily with Canadian members, I've had this disconnect where they're sending me pictures, but I never even know I got an email. So please be patient. Give me 24 hours to respond. And if you don't hear from me, message me on the Facebook page and let me know you didn't hear from me, because I never even knew you sent an email. Try to send the photos as large as possible. And the reason for that is when I get a photo that's really big, I can shrink it to fit into the page. But when I get a photo that's really small, I cannot make it bigger and have it look right when it's printed out. I save the PDF printing file, print ready file at 300 DPI. And when I have to take a photo that's 96 DPI and is this big and grow it, it looks horrible. But a 1080p, full 1080p photo at 96 DPI, which is 12 megapixels, but it's full 1080p, so it's huge, and I shrink it down, looks crystal clear in the print version of the newsletter. The photos that you upload to Facebook, I cannot download those and put them in the newsletter because Facebook strips all that data so that it loads faster. And I get the same problem. I get a little tiny photo, I have to try to make bigger, and it looks as grainy as Dane put it, grainier than the original Bigfoot footage.
Yes.
So what we're trying to do is produce a newsletter that any printer in the world, any modern printer in the world can print, and you have photo quality in your hand. So, and keep sending the photos. And I've had several people say, we want to see work from more turners, different turners. Well, tell them to send it.
Right.
I put in the newsletter what you send to me. So if you're not sending it, it's not going in the newsletter. And I try to get into the Facebook page at least once a day and troll your posts and tell you, hey, send that to the newsletter, send it to the newsletter.
You do.
I do my best, but I don't always have time to do that. So the more the merrier, the more photos I get from more of you, the more diversity of art we have in our newsletter, the better. And that's all I've got right now. I will have pens to show it for gallery after the demo. This is the last one.
I do want to thank you for all the help you gave me with my photos. That was awesome.
Who's that?
That's great.
Scott from
Scott.
Red Deer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you bet. And look, it's not that I don't want to put your photos in there. It's if we can't get them the right size, they look awful. And that doesn't do you any justice either if we have tiny photos that are pixelated, and it just, we're trying to make this look professional. It, kind of moving towards a magazine style layout. Maybe one day, if dreams continue to come true, we can print a magazine. Maybe, but
we got goals.
We're going in that direction.
Yes.
So the higher quality we can put into that now, the easier it's going to be when things get towards that.
And you were an amazing help with getting my pictures proper. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, and another thing, another thing too, and I will do my best to help you, but I don't know anything about iPhones. I stopped using Apple products in the late 80s because I saw the pricey direction it was going. So if anybody is kind of a guru on the iPhone, iPad photo, the iPhoto world, if you would like to get a hold of me and if I can use you as a resource when we're all stumped, I would really appreciate it because I don't use iProducts. And I mean, I'm better off telling you how to get a photo off of a Nikon D40 onto your laptop than how to use an iPhone.
Yeah, same boat. And Android and Windows, Joaquin and I have things covered. But when it comes to Apple products and their self-proprietary, one way is our way, there's nothing, there's not much we can help on trying to figure out why it's not coming through correctly.
Unless you're Canadian, in which case it's an Outlook issue.
Right. And then, so something else that would be nice as well, and shoot, I've even got a couple. You can submit photos of, some of your earlier stuff and do a comparison of, hey, this is where I started, and this is kind of like a tag on to what Jay Penny was saying, the president of the Detroit area, Wood Turners earlier. This is where I started at, and then look at where I'm at now. I got a perfect hollow form that's died, and my wife pulled it out a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know you still had that. And I started to take it out and put it in the chimney to burn. She's like, oh my God, you're not going to do that. That's one of your first hollow forms. You ain't getting rid of that. But for me, the dye sucks. And for me personally, it just looks hideous compared to the work that I do now. But I think that would be a great thing, just to show as a turner, the evolution that we've made, to the point that where you're at right now, based on your turning journey, because the whole evolution is, is to keep going up, not to be stagnant and staying straight, or worse, going down,
That's a fantastic idea. And
we can do a segment on that.
I'm actually laying out progress corner or something. I know exactly where I'm going to put it in the newsletter. Right. It's going to be boxed. It'll feature one artist before and after, or back then and now. That's a wonderful idea. Okay. I like that a lot.
Can you add that segment to this edition of the newsletter, and I'll get.
If you send me pictures, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
You betcha.
Right on. Yep. Sweet.
Look, the cool thing about being the editor of the newsletter is if I need to add pages, all I have to do is click, done.
Right.
So
you ain't got to ask anybody.
Send it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right on.
Easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
Hey. We've talked about how we do things on that, so we're good. Right on. Thank you, JJ. Appreciate it. All right, now let's go to Sue.
You see me?
Safety Sue. I'm getting you. Hold on. There we go. We got you.
Hope you all had, for those ladies, a happy Mother's Day this past weekend.
Yes, my wife had a good one.
Oh, that's great. And I also want to thank Ruby. The night that she gave her demonstration, I wasn't there to see it. So I watched it this past week, and gosh, Ruby, you give a fantastic demo, and I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that for us.
Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it.
One of the reasons I like this club is that people don't hesitate but share things that have happened to them or what's happened to their fellow turner, but not in a derogatory manner. It's a way to learn from people. Last week, Scott Hampton was at a he wrote me in chat that he was at a demonstration and the gentleman was turning something, but it flew off the lathe.
That was Scott Midori.
Oh, okay. Okay, Scott, how about you giving the thing? That would be great.
Okay, we had a demonstrator that was turning a 3-cornered bowl. And at first he turned his tenon just a touch too small and it fell off. And then he made a different tenon on it, adjusted, which showed us a lot of technique. And then it flew off again. And in both cases, we had installed a plexiglass shield in front of our lathe. And the second time it hit the plexiglass shield and bounced back and hit his face shield so forcefully that it knocked the plastic out of his face shield.
Wow.
Now, it was an amazing demo. He did a great job. He is an amazing turner. He's from the Edmonton Wood Turners Guild. It just had a couple of bad things. And because of it, he asked if I could finish his piece, and I did. And I've got it here if you want to show me, or I don't know how you do that, but I've got it
already, Scott.
I've got it here, and I've got to say that it's the first time that we've had a piece that would have hurt somebody if it had come off the lathe, and I was so thankful that we had put a plexiglass shield in front of our lathe, and we had put the shield up, and I finished it up, and he had done a little top for it, but I didn't like it, so I did one out of a different wood. But that's the piece he had turned, and he had trouble with his tenon, and it came off twice, and he was shocked when it came off the second time. I'm not sure why it did, but he's an amazing turner, and it taught us all in our club so much. And safety, like he had a face shield on, he had the plastic in, like we had the plexi in front of it, and it saved him and it saved our turners when it came off.
What's his name again?
Bert Delisle from Edmonton Wood Turning Guild.
The last name again? I'm sorry.
Delisle, Deslisle, and he is from I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names. He's got a Facebook, East Slope Wood Turning, and amazing turner, amazing demonstrator, just a bad night. And we were all so thankful that we had the shield up and he had a face shield on, because it knocked the plastic right out of the center of his face shield.
Thank you, Scott. I'm sorry I didn't really get your last name last week, and that's a my bad. But I want to,
Sue, I couldn't remember his name, so don't worry about it.
Gotcha. Okay, so I wanted everybody to hear that, because not only the novice turners and the experienced turners, but also the new turners. It was an experienced turner, and that happened to him. It can happen to any of us. And I also got some tips from a YouTube video that I watched before the meeting. And it was talking about machinery when you're working on the outside of your house. And it talked about, now this gentleman doesn't have any hair past his nose, meaning up. And he said he had hat protection, so the sun wasn't getting to him. He had ear protection. They were big muffs. He had a eye protection, and he had a face or a dust mask on that looked a little bit like it was from Jurassic Park.
Huh.
He mentioned all that stuff, and if you ever follow our good friend Billy. He does great videos on YouTube, and lately they're just 1-minute ones. But he does give some points out, and we can't turn if we're not safe at what we're doing outside. And it's, you know, it's spring, it's summer, we all want to be out there and gardening or whatever you're going to do. So, folks, when we work with stuff, whether it be outside the house, in around the house, and in our shops, we're working with a motor that spins very fast, whether it's your lawnmower, your string trimmer, your chainsaw, whatever you use on the outside.
Leaf blower.
Well, that was my next thought, but thanks, Dan.
I knew it. I saw the wheels turning.
Yeah, I know it. So, folks, just stay safe, and remember, I want to see you next week in one piece. Thanks for
There's
listening.
one of those videos he's referring to. I put up today. It's just
And
a
that
little
was
quick
hilarious.
short on YouTube. So y'all check it out if you if you've got a mind.
Then I
Or if you
posted
don't mind.
I posted a shit stirring pot of something very unsafe last night, but I also put in, you know, what I was doing. Sue, you definitely need to go to the Facebook page and look at that, because I'm sure you would cringe initially looking at it. So
Okay, I'll do it.
yeah, it's
So,
did it all in fun.
Stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Take care.
All right, sounds
Thank you,
great. All
Sue.
right, let's go to tonight's demonstration. We have Mr. Matt Harbor lined up. He's got quite the evening prepared for us, so I got a feeling he's going to solicit questions. So the mic can be open, but if people are asking questions, please do not step on each other. Be respectful for others when they're asking questions. And then with that, let's go to Matt. I'm going to mute all the mics. Matt, you will need to unmute yourself.
All right, I'm unmuted. I'm Matt Harbor. Welcome to my shop. Tonight we're going to demonstrate some of the carving techniques that I've been doing, and I'm going to go over some of the things that I've been doing myself for the last 2 weeks or so. Let me switch to this camera first of all. No, let's go here first. So this is basically going to be power carving and texturing basics. All the pieces shown in the presentation here. This is my contact information if you have questions that arise later. All of my pieces, these are all my pieces shown in this presentation. So the first thing I'm going to go over are my influences. And my primary carving influence is Dixie Biggs. I think she lives in Florida. If you get a chance to take a class with her, please do. She's great. She especially works with relief carving, and she's very good at that. My club had Greg Gallegos demonstrate last month, and a lot of the pieces I'm going to show tonight and some of the techniques I'm going to show were inspired by his demonstration at my club. So he's a very good turner. He's somewhat reclusive, but if you get a chance to see him demonstrate, I also recommend him as well. And Nick Agar is the king of embellishment, in my opinion. He is a source of endless inspiration. When we get to talking about Manpa cutters, he is a rep for Manpa, M-A-N-P-A. We'll get there, and some of his recommendations are very useful too. So the machines that I use, and this is not to say these are the only machines or the best machines, but these are the ones that I'm using. I use a Fordham. Generally, I use 1/4-inch shaft with those. It's a strong machine, high torque. It's powerful. I use Dremel. I have a lot of Dremels. I use them for primarily with 1/8-inch shafts, but with collops you can use 3/32 or 1/16 burrs. I use them interchangeably, and I also use a micromotor. This one, the one that I have, is the Master Carver MicroPro Champion. It's the little blue machine. I will use this extensively tonight because it's probably the easiest to change burrs and bits with. I typically buy burrs for this with 3/32 shafts, but it will take the 1/8 inch Dremel bits. And those are the machines that I'll be using. Now you can use you can use Harbor Freight rotary tools and so on. So there's a lot of different ways that you could go about doing this. And let me show you some of the things that I've got here. So these pieces were all pieces that I've turned in the last 2 weeks. So one of the first things that I'm going to talk about is turning your piece as a canvas. So this is an old piece of sugar maple that had been sitting in my shop, and it had, I don't know if y'all can see this, but it had some very punky rotting going on in the pith in the center of the tree. So a lot of my carvings here that I've done here was to cover up or take care of that pith and make it look better. So one of the first lessons I learned, this has actually got a little groove here. I don't know if y'all can see that very well, but make this wider if you're going to do this, because it was really difficult to paint and sand down inside the groove. So make it bigger or don't do it at all. Questions so far on anything that I've shown or any of what I've talked about the machines? Am I still there?
Yes, you are.
All right, thanks. All right. So this piece here, let's go back to this piece here. This is box elder, and I wanted to test. All of these have been dry brushed to kind of highlight the textures, and I don't plan to go over that tonight, but maybe we can. We'll see. But what I wanted to test with this piece is I wanted to test doing a spiral on a piece and then going to the widening it and going to it with the dry brushing. So I laid in the initial spirals on the top and on the bottom with my Sorby spiraling tool. And then I widened and used those as guides for carving the textures deeper and wider and for the transition across the base, the side to the bottom. So one of the things you'll see in my notes is you'll see me talk about doing rounded contours rather than sharp contours. And there's times or reasons when you might want to do a sharp contour, but if you're carving, following a carving across that rounded contour is a lot easier and looks a lot better than if it's a sharp contour, a sharp edge. So think rounded contours in what you're doing. Yeah, was there a question? Okay. So in this piece here, the pattern here is basically just balls with smaller balls at the corners. And what I was doing with this piece was I was following the grain. And again, this is one of those pieces that I turned using the piece as canvas. I'm going to carve this piece. I want a surface for carving. So when I'm turning it, I'm turning a smaller bowl, and I'm turning a wider rim so that I've got an area to carve so that I can show the carving. It's hard to see the carving when it's on the bottom. I mean, I did follow the carving over on the bottom a little bit here. But you want to be able to showcase your carvings. So, and on this piece here, this was, all I did was carve grooves out like this one. And I used the Manpa cutter to do these grooves. And I wanted it to sort of sunburst. And then I went on the back and did use the same cutter to carve these all of these grooves also. So any questions on those so far? No.
I'm trying to pick my chin up.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Same.
And you show
Well, I'm going to show you guys how this show you all how easy this can be. Okay. So let me switch back to these so you can see the pieces. Let me go here and here. So these first three pieces the black background is just paint, and I'm using a flat black matte paint from Walmart, and I just paint it all black, and then I dry brush the top surfaces. This one here was an experiment to see how the Manpa Cutter worked, and if I could use a white paint. So this white paint, and that started off with the background is basically just white gesso that's ever so slightly diluted with water. Diluted, Martin. So, and it worked great. It filled in everything. It didn't clump up at all. It made everything very white. When I came back to highlight the grooves, I used black paint to highlight the tops of this. I airbrushed it, and then I came back and so the yellow and the red and the orange and stuff are airbrushed, but I tried to highlight the grooves with black paint with very light airbrush or dry brushing, and it kind of made the piece look a little dirty. But I did like it. But then I came back with some white paint, and I added a few more striations out from the middle to try to make it a little more brighter and a little more burstier. So that was my thinking with how I did the painting. But the grooves were all carved. So questions on any of this so far on how I designed the pieces? Yep, go ahead.
What cutter are you referring to on your Sunburst?
It's a Manpa cutter called MANPA, and I will show that here. Let me not that one, not yet that. So these are the burrs that I'm going to be showing tonight, and maybe some others. So the one at the bottom, on the bottom right, is the Manpa cutter. They make a couple of different profiles. This is the triangle cutter. That's the one I used on the Sunburst piece. Okay.
Okay.
So I use saber-tooth burrs. I use stump cutter burrs to clean things up. I sand with the little bristle discs there, and I sand also with diamond burrs. So, and I provide this list so you all can find these at various sites and so on. A lot of this stuff can be bought on Amazon. Like I think the bristle discs can be bought on Amazon, and Amazon sells the diamond burrs, nearly the same sets that Harbor Freight does. So, but I'll show you the ones I have. Okay.
Yep.
But but that Sunburst piece, all of the carvings was made with that Manpa cutter in the lower right there.
I had never heard of that. That's why I was asking. Thank you.
Yeah, yep, you're welcome. Manpa, I got my Manpa cutters from the Klingspors site, which is woodworkingshop.com. But Nick Agar is a rep for Manpa, and he has a site somewhere that sells them also. So I'm not exactly sure where else they're sold, but that's where I got mine, was at Klingspors site.
King
Okay,
Arthur
so
Tools
What size? I'm sorry.
it's the mini. I don't know. It's the mini carver. It's not the bigger ones. Like they make them in bigger sizes, like 2 inches and 3 inches, which are huge. This is small, and I'll show it to you. It's I don't know what the sizing. If somebody looks that up and asks me, I can measure it for y'all.
Ruby was saying where some were able to get. Ruby?
Yeah, you can get them from King Arthur's Tools.
Okay, cool.
All right, so let's go carve some stuff. So this is my carving station, which I cleaned up for you guys. So in that list, I list a can't really see this. Okay, you can see it. All right, so this is the 50-piece diamond burr set that I got from Harbor Freight, and I think Amazon sells one very similar. This is the 30-piece. Okay. So these are diamond burrs. So the Manpa cutter I have is pretty small. Okay.
Gotcha.
You compare it to like saber-tooth burr, spear burr. Okay.
Okay.
It's pretty small. It's got an 1/8-inch shaft. All right. So the first tool I want to show is this. This is a sandbag. It's a sewn. It's a little bag that's sewn, and it's got some plastic Ziploc bags in there with sand in them. And this is a contact, you know, the sleeve around it is just sewn also, and it's like contact stuff you put on your shelves. And I use this because I can put a piece on it, and I can you know, angle it however I want. This is really useful. Dixie Biggs, this is Dixie Biggs' invention. She sells these on her site. Mine's signed. So, all right. So the primary burrs that I'm going to use are saber-tooth burrs. So they come in different sizes. These are the three that I use most often. This is a sphere burr. This is they call this a ball nose cylinder or just a ball nose burr, and this is a flame burr. So these are all very useful in various and sundry different applications, but these are the ones that I primarily use. No, that goes there. That one goes there. I also have one. This is my Fordham. It's hanging here. That. So this is my Fordham handpiece. I have a larger saber-tooth burr in this. It's got a 1/4-inch shaft. I'm going to start with this one. So I've got this one, and this is the one for the Dremel. So they're not that different in size, but the one in the Fordham is bigger. Saber-tooth, if you're doing larger pieces, saber-tooth makes some very good large burrs that remove wood very quickly, and you can very quickly get to a useful surface using those burrs in something like a Fordham. Questions on this so far?
Do you use a foot switch with that?
With the Fordham, I do. This is my micromotor. It came with a foot switch. I used it for 20 minutes and then wrapped the thing up and put it away, and have never used it since. So I would say for the Fordham, I use it a lot because it varies the speed and so on. It's very useful. With the micromotor, I don't use it at all. So your mileage may vary, but that's how I run things.
Okay.
I can use the micromotor for hours at a time. So the foot switch, you know, that would give me cramps, if you know what I mean.
Sure. You just leave it on, right?
Yeah, I just turn it's just on or off.
Yeah, yeah.
So and you can change the speed very quickly. So it's, you know, you don't need that sort of speed management the foot pedal gives you with the Fordham.
Yeah.
Other questions? All right. Piece of box elder. I'm going to show how to cut things. Now, one of the things that Dixie Biggs teaches is what she calls the 3-point stance. And the 3-point stance is 3 points of contact. So I've got my right hand on the piece, my left hand on the piece and touching the tool, and the third point of contact is the burr. So when I'm carving, I'm carving with all like this. All of my I've got a lot of control with the 3-point stance going on. Questions on that? All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by making a sort of a series of spherical holes that are close to each other. Now, one of the things that I'm going to point out about this is between these two, I put the next one between them. So I'm generating a surface, a ridge between them with the spear that I can then paint. And watch how quickly this can be done.
Matt, I think the light is burning out what you're doing.
I'm sorry, what was that, Ruby?
The light seems to be burning out the image of what you're doing.
I don't know if I can change that angle a little bit. Is that better?
Made it worse. Not really.
Oh, geez, okay. Well, I got more light.
That's better. Oh, nope.
Oh, that's
Okay,
perfect,
yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Right there? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Thank you. So I can very quickly make make these contours, make these textures. Okay. Now, I don't know if you all can see this, but this tool leaves
Too bright.
teeth mark. What's
We
that?
can't see it.
There you go.
Okay, there. Nope, back.
Right there.
There.
Okay, there's teeth marks from the tool. Now, let me show two different techniques here. One, I'm going to move the tool this way. It's spinning this way, okay? And the other, I'm going to move the tool this way. So across the spin, this is across the spin, and this is with the spin. So across the spin, can you guys see this?
No.
Nope.
No. Across the spin leaves a smoother.
Go to your left a little, and the image is better.
Bring
There.
it towards
There?
you. Towards you.
That's better.
Okay, so across the spin leaves a smoother surface. With the spin leaves more fuzzies and deeper teeth marks. So one of the first things you realize is that I've got teeth marks in my divots. Okay, well, sometimes that's by plan. Okay, sometimes not. Sometimes you don't want that. So the next question is, what do I do to clean those up? So let me switch tools. This is a stump cutter burr, okay? And the stump cutter burrs are also listed. And what they are is carbide burrs with a very specific teeth arrangement. And they leave a very smooth surface when you use them, okay? So I've got this. And then I'm going to go over here to this one here where I left the teeth marks. And tell me when you can see, like, there are teeth marks here.
Towards
And
you, towards your body.
God
Better?
bless. Zoom.
We've got you, Dean.
Yeah, I know it. Every time somebody speaks, it's kicking the spotlight off.
Okay.
We got you, Matt.
All right. So the spur burrs leaves a very smooth surface. Now, if I move too fast with the spur cutter, I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong word. Stump cutter. That's the word I made. I'm sorry. Stump cutter. So with the stump cutters, it leaves a very smooth surface, and it really cleans up those teeth marks. So if you guys see these fuzzies here, so the tool's rotating into the wood this way, and it brings up fuzzies on the outside of that divot, okay, of that cut. All right?
Your audio is
So-
breaking up, Matt.
Nothing but problems. Is this any better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. So one of the things that I try to do is I try to eliminate the fuzzies that are being brought up by the action of the tool. So I'm going to move my cuts this direction. And when I do that, it cleans up the fuzzies on the previous cut. Okay. So if I'm going to make another cut here, and another cut here, it takes those fuzzies right off and leaves a nice clean ridge there for when I come back with dry paint, with dry brush painting or whatever else I'm doing. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so nature likes to do things in the most efficient way possible. So one of those things that it's doing is it's using available space. And when you do these patterns and you put one in the space between the ones before it, you're mimicking what nature is doing. And that looks natural and more appealing to the human eye because that's what we're used to seeing in nature. Okay. So all I did was clean up those cuts very quickly that I got with the big tool, with the big burr, with the big saber tooth burr. And I've got clean ridges between them, and I've got clean surfaces in the middle, and it's very nice. Now, if I want to do more sanding,
Matt,
that's when yes.
is there any chance you can reposition the light, because as you're carving, and the majority of the time when you're showing it to us, the light is washing it out.
Too bright.
Well, I can do this with the lights. I don't know if that helps.
That looked a lot better.
Okay.
Right on.
I'm going to have to do this by memory then, because I can't really see what I'm doing because the light's not on the piece now.
Oh, no. Well, don't do anything unsafe.
Okay, so what I've done is I've switched to a diamond burr here. Okay, this is a sphere burr, a diamond sphere. Okay, and when and this is all listed in the notes section in the presentation, but turn the speed way down when you're using a diamond burr. And you're sanding with the diamond burr. And if I've got little teeth marks that I didn't get out before I missed, I can just sand them with this. Okay?
Looks good.
And if I'm really gentle, and take light cuts, you can always take more wood off. Same is true when we're doing wood turning, right? It's a lot easier to take wood off than it is to put it on. So all I've done here is I've sanded with the diamond burr on low up to these edges, up to these ridges. Okay?
Right.
So diamond burrs for sanding. That one goes there. That one goes there, so I know where they are. Okay, so let's show what the Manpa cutter does, because everybody seems interested in it. So,
and that's the 1/8" shaft.
Repeat that.
1/8" shaft.
1/8" shaft. It's called a Manpa mini cutter. They make larger cutters. This is a mini cutter, and I don't know the exact size on it. But what it does, it's a triangle. It's a triangle contour, and it cuts grooves. Okay. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Is that a carbide cutter?
I think so.
Yes.
All right. So.
And it says the head's 5/8 of an inch. So, if that helps.
And it cuts grooves very, very smoothly. I get at least some very clean cuts in there. Okay. That's what the Manpa triangle cutter does. Now, Manpa makes other profiles. They make a circular one and a square one and some other things. I also have a cutter I bought years ago called Rotary Chisel. And Rotary Chisel, I prefer the circular rotary chisel one because it makes quicker, deeper cuts. But I haven't been able to find them. I went looking this week to try and find them online somewhere, and I cannot find them anywhere online. So I don't know if they're still in business or if they're still making them, but I couldn't find them. But it's very similar to the Manpa cutter. And this is the circular profile.
Matt, would that work for cutting your spiral finials?
Technically, yes, but it cuts an awful broad.
Okay. Right
you
on.
know, an awful broad surface. So I would want to use something slimmer. I did try it on one, and I was much happier with the Dremel 199. But I've got some other things to try for that, so we'll see. Okay. So any questions on any of this so far?
So, oh, sorry, that was a response answering something. No, I don't see anything in chat. Does anybody else have any questions? There's nothing in chat for me to read back to you, Matt. I'm
Okay.
not seeing any.
So there was a couple of things that that I was playing with here earlier. So this piece here, I was just working on some things here, and these center grooves are all sanded with a diamond burr, and it leaves a very, very clean surface. So one of the other things that I also have is I have these little bristle discs, and these are available on Amazon, and some other people sell them. I think MDI Woodturner sells them. That is also in my list. So that's not what I want to do. So, and you treat them like you would sanding. You turn your speed down, and you basically just go over your surface. Now that this is the red ones are 220 grit, so they don't sand very fast, but they will sand finish contours up really well and smooth out some of the fuzzies from the tools. Was that a beer or a pop?
Well, it's the same thing in some parts.
I suppose. So, and I usually wear a dust mask, and I have dust collection in the shop when I do this because it generates a lot of dust, especially the Manpa cutters. But basically, when you buy let me switch over to this.
Excuse me, Matt. Again,
Yes, sir.
Did you say what kind of wood that you're working on here?
The wood I'm working on there is box elder.
Okay.
But some of the pieces that I turned were cherry, and one of them was silver maple. Box elder is a softer wood. It generates more fuzzies. So cherry and maple are better, or hard maple are better carving sources. But you know, box elder works. So this piece and this piece and this piece were both box elder. Okay. So this one was cherry, and this one was silver maple. Other questions? So the bristle discs are listed. They're off to the right there, second from the bottom. So the stump cutter burrs I have listed here, they're sets at MDI wood carvers, and the set of the small cylinders are really great for a lot of different detail work. I use in this sort of texturing that I'm doing here, I use the sphere burrs most often. So if you want to start with those, that's a good place to start. They're a little on the expensive side, so I would only get them as you needed them. Questions so far on any of what I've covered so far?
Nothing in chat, Matt. You're doing excellent.
Okay. All right. So let's go and make some more shavings then.
All right.
There.
Definitely.
Okay. So is there anything that anybody would like to see carved before I go into the others, into doing
So
something?
Matt, how do you go about laying out your design, what you're going to do?
Well, a lot of what I've done is just eyeballing it. Like on the piece that I carved on this one here, I was mostly just working to cover up the really punky rotted wood on this piece. Okay.
Right.
So that's the first thing I did is I laid it out. And then in certain places I said, okay, let's use a much smaller bit and put in these little bits here. Okay. So I was just doing this freehand, and I started here and I started working down, and all I really did was sort of lay out with pencil, just laid out the outline of the area I was going to carve. Okay.
Yep.
On this one here, I did the same thing. I laid out with pencil where I was going to carve, and I was trying to follow the grain, and I did okay until I got to the back side here, and there was a little bit that I didn't quite get right. Like this bit here should be in there, but I couldn't see it really well until I put the finish on. So
Right. Understandable.
But I'm happy with it anyway. So don't get me wrong, but it
Oh
was
yeah,
just,
absolutely.
it was a little strange. So,
So we
and
do
so
have a
I-
question. So we do have
Yes.
a question. Are some woods easier to carve than others?
The box elder is soft and it's very easy to carve. The cherry was just fine, and so was silver maple. I would stay away from super hardwoods. I have had problems carving oak in the past in that it doesn't hold. If I'm doing this piece here and I'm looking for these sharp edges so that I can come back and dry brush it, the oak doesn't hold these. It hasn't, in my experience, hasn't held these edges very well. Now your experience may be different, but that's my
Right.
experience with oak.
Yep.
So I would encourage people to try them. You don't, I mean, we all have future project wood in our shops. You know, there's no reason why you can't experiment. So try it on a piece of wood that you're not using for something else. You
Yeah.
know,
So we
see
got
what
another-
happens.
So Matt, we have another question on how much force, how much pressure are you having to apply when you're doing the carving? It's just a little at a time, and you work your way into the full design, right?
Yes, and I'm trying to apply light pressure. If I push too hard, what's going to happen is the tool can grab and chew a piece of my skin off or something like that. So I'm not pushing hard at all. So even when I was using the Fordham, let me turn the Fordham back on and do some more of that. So even when I was using the Fordham, I'm not pushing at all. I'm just using light pressure. I'm letting the tool do the work.
Do you find that the tool is almost self-feeding?
No, I guide it,
Okay.
and I don't want to let the tool take control. Okay. So I'm taking just very light cuts. Okay. And I'm just letting it until it gets to the point where I've got what I want. Okay. So that was hardly any pressure at all. I wasn't putting any pressure on it. I wasn't pushing it. I was just, shaving off a little bit at a time. So, and this, if I was to do it with, with any of the other tools, let me switch to the small saber tooth burr here. Lock it, turn it up. So all I'm trying to do is just remove the material, and I'm not trying to put any pressure on. I'm very lightly removing the top surface. Okay. Almost no
Right.
pressure at all. But that's a great question. You want to take a little bit at a time.
Right. And then would when it comes, like when you're carving and using your burrs, and inevitably you're trying to figure out the speed and feed rate. What do you find the best to prevent the burning of the wood with certain bits or all bits?
Well, if you keep the bit moving and you don't put a lot of pressure on, you probably are in good shape to not burn the wood.
Right. Okay.
The cherry burned a lot more than any of the other woods did. I wasn't too concerned about it because I was painting over it, and it was going to start off black anyway. But the cherry did more burning on the end grain, and you're going to get burned on the end grain. So let me see if I can find it. So the grain's running this way in this piece of wood. So let's do a little bit of, let me get one of the diamond burrs out here. let's get this one out and see if I can't get a burn going.
And
I don't know
Cherry's
that I
even
will be.
notorious for burning on a table saw.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not doing it here on the, well, there it is, a little bit on the box elder. And this is a lot higher than I would usually run this diamond burr. So it's burning a little bit. So if I, and I'm on end grain, if I turn it down and I keep moving pretty quickly, I'm not getting any burn on there. Okay.
So when it comes to speed, granted, there's not an RPM gauge on these type of tools. What do you?
Well, I did it. I did it. I have a, let me switch to a Dremel here. Okay. So
yeah, there's a gauge on them. Right.
yep. So this one's, when you turn this one on, it starts off in the middle, like a 15. Okay. And that's exactly where I want it to do when I'm using, this is a Sabertooth burr. Okay. Okay. That's exactly where I want it to be. Now, if I switch to one of the diamond burrs, what do I do with that one?
It's right there.
No, it isn't.
You put it back where it was supposed to be in the case.
Right?
No, I did not. It's supposed to be there.
Well, you moved it then, because that's where you put it.
I had a question from a Facebook friend yesterday on carving. So I was doing some carving and I was just showing her on a cell phone, and I have a magnetic stand. Wasn't doing anything because this table is just wood, right? And it's in the burr. Never mind. It's right there. That's the burr I was looking for.
I was fixing to ask.
Yeah, it's in the other, it's in the Ford.
And I was like, two of the burrs were all of a sudden missing, and what had happened is I'd moved the camera and picked them up with the magnetic base. I didn't know it. So when I use this one to do the sanding, and I did try this the other day, I turn it down. Okay. And that's good. Oh yeah, that's doing the job right there.
How many RPMs do you think you're at?
I don't know. 15? It's not many though. It's as low as this will go.
Yeah, 10,000.
Oh, I think it's less than that, because the Dremel goes up to 18, right?
Well, mine goes to 30, but yeah, it depends.
All right. Well, it says 5. So the numbers here,
You're right.
It starts off at 15, 20, 28, 0 to 5. So I think this is like 5 RPMs, 5,000 RPMs or something like that. So, but this, I mean, let me go over here over the ones that I did with the big tool and see. Yeah, that's cleaning it up. But yeah, that works. Okay.
Nice.
So there's the answer to that question. I hope that helped.
Yes, I hope so too.
It's
kind of like a trial and error process when you're working with these bits. You know, you want to, if it's new to you, you want to work on a piece of wood, a scrap piece of wood, just to get the feel of how it cuts and
yes,
the RPMs that you need to be at, because just because it goes 50,000 RPMs doesn't mean you need to be burning at 50,000 RPMs.
Right. And the sanding works a lot better when you're going a lot slower. So
right. Just like the lathe.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go that route. And I mean, in here, I also have like the standard Dremel sanding drums and so on. So these work just fine if you're trying to remove, big wood or trying to change a contour. But if you're doing precise stuff, then you want to go, you want to go slower with the diamond burrs.
So what's the life expectancy? How much usage can you get from your cutters?
Well, this is the one I use the most often. This is the Bud stump cutter. Okay. I bought this in 2015. So it's 9 years old. It's the same one.
The usage.
Same one I used in the class. So same one I did that maple plate with. And these, all of these stump cutters were, I used them in that class and I've used them ever since. And I bought these like the spear balls. I bought these like a year or so later. So, and these are the same ones, and I haven't, I have others that I haven't even, are still in the package that I haven't changed them out at all.
Right. Then the little sanding drums, they don't last long.
Well, these things don't. These things don't last long. This one is right at, I'm going to have to put a new sleeve on this one very quickly. But yeah, but this is the same one that I've used. I've been using this one for years, and I have a whole bunch of other discs, so I could swap these out at any time, and it's working. So I'm not going to move it. I'm not going to change it.
Right.
So, and the saber-tooth burrs, I mean, my first one of these burrs here, I used it in a risky situation to hit metal with it and chewed it up. So I bought several since, but I use these a lot. So, and this is a brass brush, and I'm using it to get the debris out of the burr with. And if that doesn't work, then you can torch it.
Right. Speaking of torch, is it viable after you've carved, you've embellished your piece? Is it viable to take a torch to burn off the fuzzies that is created?
Just like this?
Yep.
Yeah. It's not perfect. I mean, I can burn them off, but
then you're adding, burn material to the design, right?
Yeah, and it's okay if you're going to paint it.
Yeah.
And it does help. It does help some. And Greg Gallegos, that's one of the things he does a lot in his demo is he burns off the fuzzies. But he's also leaving teeth marks in. He's not really super focused on getting things super smooth either.
Yeah.
So excuse me, I'm a little more anal retentive in that area. I like things I like things really smooth. So
yeah, it makes two of us.
Yeah. In general, I'm working with small pieces also. So.
And would you advise, when you're doing power carving like that, to take frequent breaks?
Well, I guess it all depends on your tolerance. I can do this for hours, but then I have to do some stretching. So.
Sure. Right. But I'm just thinking because of the vibration that the tool was creating, extended periods, it's going to create nerve damage in your hands and your fingers. So in my opinion, you should take periodic breaks, for me.
I would, in general, I would agree with that, Dane. That's a good point. I would suggest, this is one of the reasons why I love the micromotor and this handpiece is it's extremely comfortable and extremely easy to hold. And the Dremel, I mean, that's good, but it's a little bit bigger and a little bit more awkward to hold, and you're not quite as close to the edge where you're doing the tooltip where you're doing the carving. Okay. So this handpiece and a lot of different companies sell these kinds of handpieces. I love this because it works really well. It's very comfortable, and I can do it. I literally can do it for hours without it causing a problem. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's, if you don't have one of these and you have the resources, it's hard to argue with the micromotor and the hand pieces. And I like the quick change a lot too. It's changing back and forth between the burrs is very, very comfortable. Other questions?
I don't see anyone have a question at the time, or whether it's on.
I got a comment. I been using my sonic cleaner to clean my burrs with some saw blade cleaner. It seems to get the gumminess out pretty well.
I don't have a sonic cleaner, so note to self, one more tool to add to the list of things I want.
Find
There
it
you
in the
go.
you can get one
And
in the
they,
toothpaste aisle.
yeah, well, they actually sell them at Harbor Freight too. It just
Yep.
has a different name. I have
Oh,
a question for you, Matt, if I could.
yeah, absolutely.
Using the Mampa, I bought one when I took Nick Agar's class. He used it, obviously, so everybody runs out and buys what the pro uses. Did you find it, you're stronger than I am, obviously, but I found it to be kind of aggressive. Do you suppose I was pushing too hard?
It is very aggressive. So let's
Okay.
switch back to it.
I mean, it
It-
kind of
it-
took off on me. I was
Yeah,
like,
you have
whoa.
to. Well, this is why the 3-point stance thing is really useful, is because it's it's very. I mean, it laid these grooves in very quickly. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me switch to a different surface here and turn it up a little bit. Now, I'm barely touching this wood with this.
Oh, okay. I think I maybe
Right.
was pushing too hard, Matt. I'm thinking maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, so.
Yeah, I know.
But it's this is, I mean, this is comfortably. I'm hardly putting any pressure or putting anything on this at all, and I'm not really very strong. I'm kind of old and weak and stuff. So
Wow, geez.
it very quickly pulls up wood. So, and you can see it's
Okay.
cutting a lot of wood very quick. So
Okay, and one thing I think Nick did was he kind of held it in a different position because he was doing that kind of cloud effect. And I think that's where I got lost, but that's not unusual because
I
I'm not
don't
that,
know. I don't know what you're talking about, Sandy. I'm sorry.
but that's okay. I mostly don't either. One more question and then I'll let you go. Reciprocating carvers. I watched Molly Winton use one and a couple other gals I've watched over the years. And I bought one, but I haven't used it. Have you ever tried that? Never mind.
Yes.
There you go. Okay, there you are.
So I have probably 7 Dremels in the shop. Okay,
Oh my
maybe 8.
gosh.
I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
this is a Wecheer WECHEER handpiece connected to a Dremel,
Oh,
and it
okay.
is a reciprocating handpiece. And I use the flex cut blades. I
Right.
primarily use this to, and I'm not a blade hand carving person, so
Mhm.
I'm not adept at this. But I have played a little bit with it, but I primarily use this to buzz off the stubs on the bottoms of my pieces when I finish them.
Oh,
So,
they
but
were kind of, what I saw it being used for is similar to what you use and I use with the ball, to make the divots, but they were kind of going down and up, down and up, down and up. So it left the ridges that they used a sanding method, Dixie Biggs, where you punch them out with a hole punch and blah, blah, blah. And just to take off the top and then go across the top like you did there with the torch, but they were doing it with the dry brush.
okay.
Does that
So
make sense?
I'm not sure what exactly was happening there.
Well, it's kind of what you did there, the honeycomb look, only they were using the reciprocating carver that was going back and forth and they went down, up, that kind of thing that left a ridge. Then they matte painted it and then they came across with some gilding cream on the top. So I tried it, but it didn't work for me.
A V-cut blade. So I
Yes.
don't know. Let me see if I can crack this open and play with it a little bit, and we'll learn
Okay.
we'll learn together on it.
All right.
So if I put it looks like a 90-degree V-cut blade on
Okay,
the
that might be a
reciprocating
little
handpiece.
steeper. Yeah, that might be a little steeper, but let's see what happens.
Well, it's not. It's less than 90 degrees, or it's wider
Okay.
than 90 degrees, or whatever the correct word is for that.
Yeah.
But I can. Cut grooves like that with it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I can cut long grooves with it, and drive it around corners and stuff.
Okay. All right. I got to play
So,
some more.
Yeah, it doesn't take hardly any effort. As soon as you put in, it engages as soon as you put pressure on it, and it'll just keep carving. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
and it leaves really good, clean lines.
Yeah, I bought
So-
that Roxon one because that's what they were using. And I thought, okay, I can do that. I'll play more. I've owned it now for 5 years and it's still in the cabinet. I used it once.
Uh-oh.
I know. You know how we do.
Yep. So I've got other blades in here too. These I don't remember where I got these, but they were not very expensive. They're flex cut. So this
Yeah.
is a circular one. So and it works the same way. It's just like
Yeah.
like a gouge.
Okay. Yep.
And
Okay. I'm going to
keep
play
it as long as
more.
you keep- Yep, as long as you keep it engaged, it'll keep going.
Okay. All right. I'll play some more, Matt, and show you my finished product.
I'll look forward to seeing it.
A lot of it's trial by error, right, Matt?
Trial by error, good way to put it. Yeah, it's you don't know what'll work. I mean, what I'm trying to do is save y'all some time and effort and show you what I know and what I've learned. And like I say, you don't know what'll work. You just got to get in there and try it. And we all have extra wood in our shop that we're not using for anything. So why not try it? What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I do use that. It leaves a nice it leaves nice clean surfaces. The reciprocating carver does, and it's nice to use. So, and it's
Yep.
here on my shop table.
I'm going to get mine out of the cabinet.
Hey, Matt, quick question for you, sir. Hey,
Yes, sir.
You normally just use that sandbag, or do you have a carving stand, that attaches to your chuck also?
I do not have a carving stand. This is what I use. So, I do
Okay,
it here, or I'm doing it in my lap sometimes. But
I'm trying to keep my wife from doing that with her gourds. Don't say you do.
Well, in all fairness, I've seen both Nick Agar and Greg Gallegos do it in their laps. So,
Can I add something also?
What's that? Yeah, it happens.
What Matt was saying about using a scrap piece of wood to test things out. If you got a nice piece you're working on, you don't want to experiment on the nice piece. You'd rather do it on a scrap first, just to see what the look is going to be, the effect's going to be before you apply it to something that you really like.
Yep, that's very true. So one of the things that I like about they have these long burrs. Okay, so this is a diamond burr, just for example, and it's long, and I have like a saber tooth burr that's long. If you want to create lines, matter of fact, let's switch to that one. If you want to create lines,
If you hold it closer to you, we can see it better.
there.
Yeah, or towards your chest. Yeah, that's better.
So this is a saber tooth burr. It's yellow, which means it's the fine grit, and it's long, i.e., it's 3/4 of an inch long or whatever. The long ones, one of the advantages of the longer ones is they'll follow lines well. So if I want to create lines,
How do you avoid
I can lay this tool, it'll follow a line, a parallel line like that. And if I can keep it in the groove, it's jumping around a lot because it's catching on the side here, but it'll create a reasonably straight line.
Matt, how's the dust and particle kickback while doing this?
Well, it usually ends up on my arm and my hand,
right,
and right here. And if I'm doing it over here, I get it in my lap. It's some of the carving burrs generate a reasonable amount of dust. The Manpa cutter generates a lot more dust a lot faster. at least in my experience. So there's I've got a downdraft.
Your mic's breaking up again, Matt.
If you can build a down, is that better?
Yes, sir.
You can build a downdraft table, then I would do that because that solves a lot of the dust problems.
Yeah, like a router downdraft table.
Yeah, and I made one that connects
Or
to my
for
dust
sanding.
collection. I'm sorry?
I said, or for sanding.
Yeah, or for sanding.
Yes.
And I made one, and I do a fair amount of sanding off the lathe. That's realistically, that's my primary use of my
Nice.
Fordham is I do a lot of off lathe sanding once a piece is done.
Hey, Matt,
I made one. Yes.
Matt, this is Sue.
Yeah, Sue.
And I've had a couple of things with Dixie. I just love what she does. But
Okay.
I know what she has, and that is a personal dust collector with a shield around it, so it sucks in all your dust at the desk level. And it's really handy when I'm doing that.
I know that Sabertooth makes one. I've seen it demonstrated. So yeah, and I don't have one. One of my buddies in my club, Bob Makowski, is a Sabertooth rep, and he has shown that. I've been at shows where he's been demonstrating Sabertooth burrs and wheels and things. So I know that Sabertooth makes something like that. It's about yay big, and it sits on your, it's a desktop dust collection thing. Works.
The last time I looked at them, they were on Amazon, but I haven't looked in about a year or so. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, maybe put a link to it in chat. Find it and put a link to it in chat or something.
okie doke.
Penn State makes one.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Penn
Yeah,
State
but
makes
I'm
one.
the one. It basically just has a hose to it that hooks up to my dust collector, and I used a pegboard and I made a box, and it's over here behind me somewhere. It's hard to get out of the mess, but it's basically a pegboard with extra holes drilled in it, and I just carve on top of that, and it sucks all the dust down into it. It works really well. Other questions?
So when working with the spherical cutter heads, the bull heads and the round ones, is there a sweet spot for the presentation of the bit to the wood?
Well, if you think about it, the center, let's pick one here. Let's pick this one. The center part of it isn't hardly rotating at all. So your best cuts are going to be on the side here. All right. And if you move this way on the side here, you're going to get the best cut like this way. Okay. And the same is in general is true with the round nose bits. If you're moving this way and cutting down in here at this point on the tool, that's where your best cuts are coming, or where the tool work, or where the burr works the best. I hope that answers the question.
I hope so. I'm not getting much feedback on it, Matt.
All right. Okay. So you asked me earlier, Dane, how I would start off, how I would lay out a design. So
yes, sir.
I turned this piece here earlier today, and it's basically a small bowl with a raised sort of rim around the bowl in the center. So my intent with this is not to decorate the interior of the bowl at all. It's all the decoration will be on the rim. Okay. Hang on a second. Nicholas. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So, and the way I'm going to start this out is similar to the way I started. Let me see this piece here. Okay. Is I started this out on the rim, and I started making the cuts here and started those first. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to generate, I don't want to paint or do any decoration into the bowl. I want to start on this exterior part of the rim of this. So that's why I turned this piece the way I did, is because that's where whatever design I'm doing starts. Okay. So let's start. So what I want to do is I'm going to come in here and build a little start point right in the rim like that. All right. And then I'm going to just work my way around. And I don't have any, I mean, I haven't drawn anything out here. I don't have any plan really. It's just all in my head. Okay. And I'm just sort of just starting off, getting starting points for the decoration, for the carving. And I don't want to breach the top of the rim. So that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to keep it below the rim. Make sense?
Yes.
And I'm trying to get them close enough to the one next to it. And if by the time I get around, I mean, I have no idea if this is going to match up or not, but I can just get creative and make one a little bigger or one a little smaller when I get there, right? And I should be going the other way. That's what I should be doing.
Can you zoom in more?
That would be
that button.
Let me see if this does it. How's that, Al?
Yeah, it looks good.
That is better.
And which bit is that again, Matt?
This is just a saber-tooth spear or ball bit.
Just a bullnose bit, huh?
Yeah, it's just well, no, it's not a bullnose, it's a ball. It's a spear
Oh, okay,
bit.
sorry. Yep.
Yep. So I'm getting enough dust on the piece that I'm having little trouble seeing where my cuts are going.
Yeah, I keep wanting to blow it off for you.
That's okay. I got it. But I would keep working my way around. All right. And then all I'm doing is yep, that's not quite what I want to do. Let me switch. So what I want is I want more pointy ends on these things. So let's switch to the flame burr and see if that gives me a better cut. Oops. So I had a fun thing happen the other day. Most of my saber-tooth burrs are 1/8 inch shafts for the Dremel, okay? But I got the flame burr that's actually 3/32, and I switched it out with something very quickly, and the collet stayed on the burr, and I didn't know that. And I thought I had lost the collet somewhere. Enough so that I ended up going to Amazon and ordering some more before I found it.
Oh, that's funny.
So now I have extras. So so the reason why I switched burrs is I want the ends on these to be a little more pointy than the spear burr was giving me. So that's kind of where what I've got going with this so far.
It's almost like you're doodling on paper with a pencil.
Yeah, and I mean, these are not that deep. All right. So without making things too boring, I'm gonna go clean these up. So, yeah, let's start with this one. So I now have a stump cutter burr, and it's a spherical stump cutter burr. Okay. So
Matt,
I'm sorry.
which
go on.
tool is it that you're using right now?
I am using my micromotor, and I'm using a stump cutter burr, and I don't know how
Okay.
big it is, but it's a sphere.
Okay.
And again, I could do this with the Dremel, but it's just easier and quicker and more comfortable with the micromotor. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the grooves here, and I'm doing this very gently and taking a very little bit off, and I'm doing it until the teeth marks disappear. All right. And I also, because this is a little too wide here at some point, I'm going to have to switch to a different one. What I'm also trying to do is widen these grooves a little bit so that I don't have a square top, but I have a sharper top like these here. I want a ridge, not a square, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So I can widen these until I have basically a knife edge. And this box elder, even though it's a little soft and a little more terry than some of the other woods, this works really well for carving. And it's soft and it moves pretty quickly. Widen this one, widen this one.
What about carving on
Close.
wet? What about carving on wet wood? Is that advisable?
Not really. Wet wood will clog up your burrs and stuff very quickly. In all fairness, this wood yesterday, or I cut this up yesterday, and it's been sitting out in the backyard for unprotected for, I don't know, a year and a half.
Right.
So,
dry.
It's pretty damp. But
It's dry.
I turned it this morning, so it's been sitting in the shop most of the day. So this is another stump cutter. It's just a smaller sphere. Because I'm trying to make the ends.
But you know what? That's a
I didn't
beautiful.
hear that, Al.
That's a beautiful piece.
That's getting there. It's going to be good.
Well, just a little bit at a time.
No, I'm talking about the turning.
Yep.
Well, you can't see the tear out, Al.
So another thing, when you're carving, it's advisable. Is it advisable you want to start with a pristine surface, or does it matter if it's rough turn with tear out, tool marks?
Clearly because I'm not carving inside the bowl, I need that finish. Right. So this has been, the whole piece has been sanded to 320. I've used sanding sealer on it. So it's been sanded, pretty thoroughly.
Right.
This is in a little better shape here than the rest of the piece. Because there's some, I don't know if you can see it, but it was reasonably punky. So there's some softer spots down here. And I don't know if you can see it here, but it's got some places that it just wouldn't,
Yep.
Didn't matter how much sanding I did, it was
I
tearing
really,
out. So
I really like that. I really like that shape.
Thank you.
That's a
and
pretty
again,
shape.
it was carefully considered to carve. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that and if I was doing a bigger piece, maybe the bowl would be the same size and the rim would be wider. So there's a lot you can do with this. There's a lot of flexibility you have once you start carving, and clearly I'm just like making lines and carving things. Okay.
Right. So surface wise, you'd want to, at least bring it, to being ready for if you was actually going to put finish on it, to bring it that level before you start carving.
Yes. And so for instance, let's say on this piece here, I'm just like putting these little tendrils together and I'm not going all the way to the edge. Okay. So they're all stopping before I get to the edge. So I'm still going to have, normal wood that's not going to be painted or carved here. Dang, mosquitoes are out. Who invited them? But so there's a lot here that will still be exposed wood, including the inner bowl. And I haven't had any idea to what I'm going to do in the bottom yet. But my point is that it's going to be finished soon. So some of this wood is going to be just the bare wood. So I do want it finished to the point where I'm ready to put the finish on it. You know what I mean? So, any rate, in general, that's the sort of general idea about how this all works together. And a lot of the designs are completely freehand, and this is a good way to start off this. I've got a good consistent way to a place to start the rest of the carvings, and I could make them, whatever I do here, I can change the shapes of the carvings that I make. Now, one of the things that I will point out here is that, and you can't really see it. Let me pick another piece here. Okay, so one of the games you can play, especially with the sphere bits, is if you're carving leaves and you want to put veins in, you can make a proud vein by creeping up on it on both sides with a sphere bit. All right. So I've got a proud vein there. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if I wanted to add another vein in there that's maybe smaller, I could come in and put another vein in and get creative there with leaves there too. And I can then, with the sphere in here, I can really do some very fine texturing detail, some very, very fine lines with just very quickly with the sphere burr. And again, this is a stuff. Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I love these stump cutter burrs so much, is because they leave this, I don't need to be sanded surface, because we all know how much I love sanding. But you get a very good smooth surface. Yeah, one of these things that I was playing with, I did. There we go. So I was playing with this yesterday. So, I did all this with this burr, or most of this with this one and the bigger burr. So, and any fuzzies you got, you can take care of with the bristle discs. Okay. So there's a lot you can do just, with the spear cutting burr, with the spear burrs and the stump cutters. They're very useful. Other questions?
I think I'm all caught up. If I've missed any questions, folks, please jump out there and ask them. Now's your time to appease what's going on in your mind with the master carver here.
Hey, Matt, Band-Aid Brenda was asking if you'd show how you paint that object earlier in the chat.
Well, a piece like this, I'm using acrylic paints, and I'm frugal. I use acrylic paints from Walmart. Okay, I'm not using anything special. The base paint on this one and on most of the other ones is black. It's a black flat black matte paint, acrylic paint.
You're out of frame, Matt. We can't see the piece.
Okay,
there you go.
How's that? Sorry,
Yeah,
thank you for reminding me.
Matt, are you still going to send that to me?
Am I still going to send this to you?
Yeah.
The piece?
Yeah. Remember we talked
I
about
haven't even
this.
figured out how I'm going to price it yet, Dane, but if you want it, it's yours.
Hey.
Deal.
But the black, I tell you what, if y'all are on Facebook, and you want to see, I'll post the paints and stuff I've used on these pieces, but they're mostly just basic acrylic paints. I'm using the apple barrel paints. I'm using, which are, $2 for a 2-ounce bottle or whatever. There's this one, and most of the others, you're using a variation of colors when you do dry brushing. That's a whole nother demo. And I don't know if you guys want me to go into that, but for this one,
Yes, I do.
yeah, maybe next week. I don't know, or the week after that, or something. I don't know. But this, the dry brushing here is done. I started with purple, and I had 3 drops of purple and 1 drop of black, and then I added 2 drops of white to that, and then I added 2 more drops of white to that, and did another layer of dry brushing, and then I made a paint where I put like 4 drops of white or 6 drops of white and 1 drop of purple, and that's the very fine white, purple white. It's white, but it's white with a purple tint. And I just sort of played with the adding a drop here and there till I got the color to where I wanted, and then I dry brushed the parts I wanted. So I tried several different brushes, including, and I have piles of paint brushes all over the place because I do a fair amount of it. But the brush, I actually ordered a small set, a dry brushing set from Amazon, and that's the best brush. So it's so the only other difference is the starburst, or the sunburst one. This one here, I didn't start with a black flat paint. I started with white gesso. So white gesso, and then the same black here on the back of this one. And then on this one, I airbrushed the yellow and the orange and the red and the blue along the edges. And then I dry brushed a little bit of black on the tops of the ridges. And then that was done. I told you earlier, I didn't particularly care for how dark it was. Excuse me. So I came back with white and did some very selective white dry brushing, very, very light, to clear it up a little bit. So, that's how that's done. But I'll post a picture on my Facebook of the paint I'm using, the black paint I used from Walmart.
All right. Hey, Matt, we got a tie between you and me for next week. So I don't know what that means.
No, you don't. I want Matt next week.
Yeah,
tie.
Let's break that tie.
Yeah, I'm for Matt too.
All right. Well, here's my last slide on the presentation. So, these are just some of the things that I reiterated during the demo. When turning a piece to carve, look at it as canvas if you're turning, and plan the contours, and so on. Round contours work better. If you plan to paint in our dry brush, work to create details and surfaces that handle your planned painting. So the sharp, again, when I'm going for the sharp ridges and the carvings, that's what I'm doing with that. I'm making a sharp edge for me to dry brush. Take your time, take light cuts. You can always carve more wood off. And the same is true when you get to the dry brushing is, don't make sure your brush is dry when you put the paint on. You can always add more paint. And then the last point here is when sanding or smoothing with the diamond burrs, turn the tool speed down low. It's pretty easy to burn or burnish the wood with the diamond burrs, especially on the end grain, which is where I was running into it on the cherry. Is the end grain burned a lot easier. And I was like, what's that? Oh, that's burning. Oh, I know what's doing that. So anyway, I could go on and on for all of this on all the carving and so on. So other questions?
Well, it looks like a preposterous, outstanding demo that you did. And because of that, looks like you're on the hook for next week.
Okay.
Because the 10.
I better check
about-
my schedule. I'm not sure.
about the 10, the 10 people that voted, you beat me by like 85%. So
Good.
We want to see how you paint those textured pieces.
All
Hey,
right,
hey,
well,
hey, Matt, everything was just dynamite, just dynamite.
well, thank you very
Like,
much,
like
Al.
we said earlier, just jaw dropping.
Well, thank you very much, everyone.
They
I
are gorgeous.
appreciate it, and I know that there are people out here, like I'm sure Ruby could match me in any of this or do better than I am. So, there are people out here who are very good at this. So, it's my pleasure. So,
thank you very much, Matt. Excellent demo as always. Always well
Great
prepared.
demo, Matt.
thank you very much.
Absolutely
Can you send
Great job,
Dave?
Matt.
Can you send Dave the handouts that you had for tonight?
I
Right on.
will. I
Thanks.
will.
He'll be looking for them. And then, did you send in photos for those pieces?
No,
The editor, come on, Matt.
Probably ought to.
I haven't taken I've been turning, man. I haven't taken any official photos. So
No, definitely get some photos. Those were, three excellent pieces, especially the one that I really like. So,
which one didn't you like? Because
Huh?
there was 4 pieces there.
well, I guess I missed the 4th one, and I was still enamored by the one that I really like. So, you can show them all off again.
All right, hang on. Let me switch back here. So these are the 4 pieces, Dane. So I got this piece here that there's the first one you did. This one here with the spirals. This one here with the cherry following the grain, and this one here, the starburst.
Yes, yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that's a pretty one too. I still stand by. I still stand.
This one was a lot of fun because I started off with a metallic blue paint and then lightened it up. It was kind of fun to do the painting on this one because it was, well, almost all of these have a lot of experimentation in them. So
great stuff, Matt.
Thank you.
They're just perfect. Amazing.
All right.
Absolutely amazing.
Well, one of the beauties that there are a couple things that I took away from Greg Gallegos' demonstration at my club last month, and I want to give him full credit for this, is that watching him do this, you realize how quickly you can contour or texture a piece with these methods. I can very quickly lay out a pattern on this, make it look organic, and come back and clean it up and sand it off, and then be ready to paint. And it's done very quickly. And if you're on my Facebook, one of the things I've been posting progress pictures like over the last 2 weeks. So on this piece here, one of the pictures I posted was before painting. So I did all the carving and then I posted a picture of it, and people were like, "Oh, don't do anything to that. That's great." And I was like, "No, it needs paint." But if you could see them before paint and after paint and so on. So I've been posting progress pictures. So
great stuff.
So thanks very much, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
You, Matt.
It was amazing.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks again, Matt.
Nice
That was a
demo.
great demo.
Very nice.
Thanks, Matt.
Now I got to spend more money, dang it.
Well, a lot of this stuff is very inexpensive. Like those diamond burst sets from Harbor Freight are not very expensive at all. So
No, I have one.
Okay.
and I have 2 sets of carbide burrs that do a great job. I don't need to buy the saber tooth or anything. I just get tired of holding that bad blasted Dremel tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Power
It's so
carbide
big
is
and
much lighter. It's much lighter. You don't even know you have it. I mean, it's like holding this little telephone cord. It's so easy.
My concern about the micro motor, the ones I found say that it's a 2.35 millimeter shaft, and all of the burrs I have are 1/8 inch, 3 millimeter basically.
Yeah. The micromotor I got, I listed it in the documentation. It's I think I paid 198 for it. It's now like 269. A
Mhm.
lot of people sell the same machine. It's a Master Carver Micro Pro Champion. The without any collet adapter inside it, it takes the 1/8 inch bits. Okay. So I could
Yeah,
use all my
too.
Dremel burrs in that machine.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of ways around this. So I'm not sure. I mean, there are other ones that may not do that, and you can buy the little adapter, the collet adapter things. But yeah,
I'm with you, Matt. Mine does the same thing. I can do 3/30 seconds, 1/8. I can, yeah, without changing anything.
yeah. I once upon a time I got involved in a debate where somebody was talking about if you could pierce with these machines.
Mm.
So mine came with a 1/16 collet, and I have dental burrs, so I tried it, and I can pierce just fine with that near the top speed. So it's
Oh, wow. I've never
I mean,
tried that.
I wouldn't
think
want to
I
do
was
too
speed
thick.
too.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do anything too thick, but
Mm.
it pierced pretty good. So at 36,000 RPMs or whatever it was doing. So
Yeah.
So there's various motors that are available out there.
Oh, yeah.
I found one a couple months ago. Scott Tigg, he helped me. That ain't it. It's got a new laser pecker, and I still haven't even tried it out yet. So I was going to. I've showed a couple people one of the modifications that I made based on conversations with Scott. But I got a flex shaft. Essentially, it equates to 1.4 or 1.6 horsepower. Got forward and reverse. Got your little hanging shaft here. Got the key component that sold me on it, aside from the power end of it, was that the collet, even though it's like a three jaw drill chuck collet.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like a Jacob's chuck.
Right. But it goes to 1/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
So you're not limited on your shaft size. And I can't remember exactly how much it cost.
129 bucks.
How much?
129 on Amazon.
Yep, there you go. That was the price of it. I've used it. It's, if I could cuss and use a positive adjective, which I can, in about 18 minutes. This thing, I mean, it will eat wood, and it also has, of course, you know how I am with dust. If you can put it in a bag, you put it in a bag. It's got moving parts. Put it in a bag if you ain't using it. So here's the foot pedal. It's just like a sewing machine. And so me and Scott were talking a while back, and he was like, you know what? We could take and put a bolt in there. And I was going to show this for tips and tricks, but since we're already on the subject of it tonight, you can take a bolt with a couple nuts on the bottom to adjust your speed. And that way you're not, for me, I deal with a lot of crap. But another thing, if I got to hold my foot in one spot, I'm going to get it cramped. And so now all you got to do is just lay your foot down on it. And now you're at you're at your optimal speed that you've figured out what that proper cutting speed is. And if you need to adjust it, you just adjust the bolts.
Yeah.
Underneath your.
That's a great tip. That's an amazing tip.
The other thing you can do is that has his handpiece, if he wants to hold it up, that handpiece will fit on a Fordham machine. So if you have a Fordham machine, you can buy just a handpiece, because I bought a handpiece like Dane, the same color and everything, and it'll fit on my Fordham shaft. So you can get Fordham handpieces to go to 1/4 inch. You got to use collets, or they're very expensive. And this was $17 on Amazon. and now I can use 1/4-inch burrs on my Fordham.
Wow.
And then, it's, for it being a, flex shaft, and being something you got to hold on to, it's of good size. The vibration is minimal. What I used to use was a Dremel. I got a drum. I got one of the original Dremels that came out back in the early 90s, 1994, 95 time frame. But I hate using it because it just drives my fingers nuts. But I used it and dealt with it. But yeah, this thing here is like a godsend, and then you can make jigs and, you could route out stuff. I think, Wayne uses something similar, where he's got a sled set up on his lathe, to be able to embellish his bowls and whatnot and his platters. So these are extremely powerful tools to use within, what we do with wood turning. But yeah, anyhow, so I just wanted to share that, and show you can get a quality machine without breaking the bank per se.
His motor looks exactly like my Fordham motor.
Yeah, it looks just like a Fordham.
Same color case and everything.
Yeah.
What's the name of that, Dane?
It just says flex shaft grinder.
Just type in flex shaft grinder on Amazon and you'll get two different sizes. One is a bigger motor than the other, and they're rated by the number of watts. So I think Dane got the 1200 watt version.
Yeah, I got the big boy. Yeah.
Todd put the website in chat.
And then then it came with a set of carbide burrs as well.
Yeah. Nice.
So
all right, I have, like, Harbor Freight sells a set of burrs just like those. I have a set like that. I also have Kutzall burrs and Typhoon burrs. I personally prefer the Sabertooth burrs and wheels. I think that the teeth are more consistent and stay better on the workpiece. Those carbide burrs seemed a little dangerous to me. I had trouble. They skittered a lot easier than the Typhoon or the Sabertooth burrs did. So I know that Sabertooth does some funky things with the way they put the teeth on the burrs. So they're like computer designed or something. So I would encourage, by all means, try everything. But in my experience, and again, this is just my experience, the Sabertooth burrs work the best of everything I've found. Yeah. And like the ones I've used here, because I'm doing small detailed work, are all the yellow, the fine version. They have another version, the white, that are finer still. They call them Whisper. But if you're doing a little bit bigger piece and you want to, use a more aggressive burr, Sabertooth does make larger burrs, and they make coarser burrs. So, like some of the things that they have, like they have these buzz out wheels, so they look like this, and that's got a 1/4-inch shaft on it, and that's green, that's coarse. This will remove wood in a real hurry. It's very aggressive. So, and they make it, all the ones that you saw me use in yellow, they make in green. So if they're not aggressive enough for you, then Sabertooth makes them big enough. So it's, I have a 1/4-inch shaft. Like if you want to seriously take wood away, that's a 1/4-inch shaft. That's green, and it's that's a big round nose burr right there. That really takes the wood away. So, and I wouldn't use this in anything less than my Fordham just because of the how strong it is. So there's a lot that Sabertooth has to offer. By all means, use what you have, but in my experience, the Sabertooth seems to work best for me.
Very good. So I put it in the chat, so another thing, with Harbor Freight, and I know a lot of people take advantage of it, and I have very mixed opinions about it, just due to the world that I came from professionally. But you can you can buy stuff there, use it, you don't like it, and then you can return it and get your money back. You know, so if you're of that boat and into doing stuff like that, that's an option for you as well, you know, when it comes to the cutters. But typically, like what Matt was saying, that would be the way to go. It's a tried and true brand. All
Very
right.
cool.
Well,
Thanks,
once
everyone.
again, Matt, all the information, I mean, it just, you know, goes on and on and on. We can just keep talking. We got one more gallery item to get to. And so let's go pull Mr. Steven up. And if anybody else has any gallery, please speak up. There we go. There he is.
Hi,
Hey,
folks.
Steven.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
I got a piece of cherry burl that I turned into a vase. Let me pull it back a little bit. The bug trails I filled in with epoxy and mica powder. 2 different colors. I got a dark blue and a kind of iridescent light blue.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
It's got some nice
Very
figure in
nice.
there.
And thanks to you guys, Scott and the rest of you guys last week on the after hours. We talked about how to get this brush marks out of the polyacrylic that I put on the finish. I think I got 4 or 5 coats of polyacrylic on here, and I kept getting brush strokes, and it just would drive me nuts because you could see them. But they suggested using the micro mesh pads, and I picked up them, and they work great. I went through the grits. I started up with the wet dry 1,000 grit sandpaper, and then I went from 1,500 to 8,000 on the micro mesh with water, and it just came up to a real high gloss. And then Scott, you had that Plastex finish polish, and that just put the sheen on it. So it really turned out nice. And I got a maple base that I put on it, and
very pretty.
I got the acrylic high gloss paint on that, and then I got some embellishment on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Well done.
Wow.
Well done, Steven.
Great looking piece, Steven.
It turned out fairly good, I think.
Nice work.
Excellent.
Now, Steven, have you taken any photos and sent to the editor?
No, I haven't even photographed it yet. No, but
All right,
I
make
will.
sure you do. Make sure you do.
Okay, I will.
right.
Thank you, and thanks for all your help with the finishing, because it was really, I was pulling my hair out. Look, you know.
I know, right?
And,
Gotta get yourself a head wrap, man. You're
You
gonna
guys
get
got
cold.
me before I pull my beard out, so thank you very much. I really
Well, Steven, you see the troubles that I had. I pulled, I've already lost all the hair up here, but then I pulled them out on my face.
Yeah, I noticed the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff.
Well, thank you very much.
Glad everybody
And
was.
thank
able
you
to
for a
get
nice
that.
demonstration today. That was great.
Yeah, it
I
really
like
was.
embellishments. Very nice.
All right, let's go to Mr. Phipps.
Hello.
Actually, hold on a minute. Actually, I need to go to Scott. We got you, Scott.
Hi there. I've had a whole bunch of little pieces of wood that I didn't want to throw out, so I've been playing with a lot of small boxes and stuff.
Nice.
This one has some walnuts, some zebra, little bit of an ash. I don't know what you'd call that, small urn. An elm. I think this is my favorite. And then I did this in ash, and I was trying to do some coloring, and I wasn't sure I was happy with it. I did put some embellishing cream on. It didn't take on the sides. It did take on the top. And it kind of turned out yellow. So I took some yellow wood and turned to finial. So that's kind of what I've been playing with, just trying to
very
use up
nice.
some small pieces.
Yeah.
Very nice, Scott.
Good
Thank you.
utilization.
Thank you. I hate throwing out wood, and
I hear you.
I found that my granddaughters have a lot of birthday parties they go to, and I've been giving a lot of them these small pieces to them to give to their friends, and their friends tell them that their grandpa has some mad woodworking skills. So I'm pretty happy, and their friends get some unique gifts.
There you go, right? Nothing
Yeah.
like boosting that ego.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great stuff, Scott.
Thank you.
Yes, nice.
All right, let's go to Mr. Phipps now. Todd, what you got?
Alright. So I was sitting at the at the bar of this local barbecue place, and they were making a drink with a cocktail smoker, and it was like a ceramic one. They dropped and broke it, and I was like, well, I'll make you guys one. So I had a little like 3.5 inch by is 6/4 inch walnut or something, and so I just turned a simple little cocktail smoker, sort of concave the bottom of it so it sits on a glass well, and I didn't want it to just be some chimney on the top and bottom, so I just sort of did a little cove off of the top of it, and widened it out a little bit to give it a little different look. And so I had the little screens already. I bought them a year ago or something, and just had never made any of the smokers, and so just threw a little smoker together. So
Sweet.
Very well.
Very nice.
Have you tried it out yet?
it is very clean.
Todd, the answer is you don't drink cheap whiskey.
So I'm trying to figure out why I'd want to put that on a nice bourbon or something,
Right,
or
because you don't.
yeah,
You
they
don't
put that
even-
in cheap liquor.
I don't even know what a smoker is.
yeah. So
They're surprisingly popular. They sell really
Yes,
well.
they are.
yeah, they're crazy popular, and you put some wood chips in there, and probably a cherry or an apple or who knows what. There's different varieties that people like, but you hit it with like your little cigar torch, and it's sitting there on the drink, and the smoke just comes right in and sits on top of that drink, and then the bartender hands it to somebody, and they enjoy the smoke on their. The one I saw them make was an old fashioned that they smoked, and I don't know.
Totally defeats the purpose. But
Give me
whatever.
smoked pork any day.
Yeah, so
Are you going to give them a bag of shavings to go with it too?
I thought about it, but I figured I'll let them worry about the consumables.
There's no way I'm smoking my scotch.
I have
I
a
know,
smoker
right?
that I use, and I put pork and chicken on it. It's a totally different deal.
Yeah, I'll use that smoker.
Yeah, right. So I've got my little so pellet smoker. So yeah, but it was a fun little project. It's simple and quick and fast, and
Oh, good on you. When are you
Nice.
going to take it to them?
probably tomorrow. This place is really close, and on Thursdays they have a special on tacos. They on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where they use there's smoked pork in their tacos. It's pretty good. $2 a piece tacos.
Right on.
Not bad.
All right. Thanks for sharing. All right, let's go to Mr. Rose. He has an update on our contact list for us. Dave,
Justin, I can say something just in case you need to find.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. All right. Just a quick note. There are two things that'll be changing on the website. Don't bother trying to go there to get a contact list this week. It's deactivated temporarily. We had somebody that was trying to really hack in. I'm going to make I turned it off, and I'm going to make some changes. They won't affect you, but they'll make it a little safer. And someone last week said, why don't you give me a higher resolution business card? And I didn't get that done this week, but I will have a higher resolution business card available by next week. So don't bother getting one today. Get one a little later in the week and you'll have higher resolution.
Just in time for AAW out in Portland.
Absolutely. Okay.
Sounds good.
And that's all I really had to say. Just wanted to warn you, don't try to go to get your contact list. It'll stare at you like you're a dummy, and I don't want it to do that to you.
Okay, sounds good. And I know I sent you a message, but I just wanted to verify that you got it. I can't remember, it was earlier in the program. But on Gary Hoffman with his 25 pins for the naval troops, to get that to update, that he did that on the website for the pins for troops.
Okay, I'll make sure that's updated.
And then all the information and the pictures and whatnot is in either newsletter 6 or newsletter 7.
Newsletter 6 or 7. Okay, I'll check out that.
Okay, right on. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for everything that you do. Thanks for keeping us safe and sound. And with that, we're at the top of the hour. So at this time, this is your demarcation point. So the official meeting is ending at this moment.